Okay, sawa, nimeanzisha. I was instructed I restarted the show na nimefanya hivyo. So karibuni sana. Sijui kama imeanza. Anyway, watu wameniambia watakuja, so let me wait for them. Let me wait for them. So Julia, that is the link. Yeah, karibuni. Nile saa zingine mtu akiwa peke yake is a bit difficult for you to be here alone. So I would be willing, lakini saa zingine ni ngumu kukua hapa peke yako. So Julia, that is the hebu kuja hata ukituambia historia ya Matiang'i, sababu hata mimi imenishtua sana. Yes, Catherine Simon anasalimiana. Yes. Ni hata Mr. Njiro voro waku ni kuwa mwana niko kabisa. Kumbe umeona show yetu, umeingia kwa show yetu tena? ZK. Umeingia Catherine Simon, umeingia. Umetembu vandu vetagwate. Ya Julia, nimewawekea link hapo. Mnaweza ingia. So wekutandaka Wow. Eno karibuni. Sasa mambo yetu ni kama inaenda ikididimia pole, ni kama we are continuing to lose generals in this war. Okay. Namenya. Ndio murathomanirio muno na vetu ujapotea sana. Nyumeta na ku zero. Umeshika sasa. Nimetoka zero. Wow, karibuni. Yes, pia Eri anasema anakuja. Nimewagonga link hapo. So there is this disturbing story. I don't know how true it is. Ebu watu watukonfirmia kama if Matiang'i is there or not. Bado kuna mtu amepost Otieno Kajwang' hapa. If Otieno Kajwang' was in Kenya, wangefuata vile ODM inafanya sasa. Anyway, ni ngumu kupata watu kama hao. I don't think the modern day ODM, Catherine Simon, hata mimi ni mtu tu ya Tamanya tu by constituency. Yeah. So Julia, karibu sana. So issue ni yenyu, ni ya watu wa jioni, so ndio nilikuwa nimesema acha niwaanzishie kama uko na maoni. So there is something nimerushiwa na mtu, I don't know ama tu ni ile fake news kama Catherine Simon anasema it is your first time in the show. Yeah. Sisi tunakuanga hapo almost kila jioni. trying to talk about Kenyan democracy and how we are losing it and how we can build it. So Catherine Simon, I can naweza kuencourage unaweza piga subscribe kama hujapiga, tuendelee kuongeza. Oh, but we meet at okay. So basi kama tunakutananga na huko kwa Shiro in Oakland, wewe lazima ukuwe umetusubscribe kitambo, sababu huko pia I really requested people to subscribe us. Anyway, karibu. Sasa mimi ni mtu wa KBG. KBG, kama unajua KBG. So kazi utatuambia una feel aje concerning our sijui kama umeji-update from abduction. Sasa we are from abduction, sasa tukaenda kwa vitu zingine. Sasa tuko kwa campaign kwa Mpwigo. So and as people are campaigning, others are being ransacked. Nasikia watu wanapoteza mali nini. So Julia, let me begin with the first question with you. I'm hearing Matiang'i has goofed. Umekutana na hiyo ujumbe?
Watu nasema ati hiyo ni propaganda ya watu wa Kasongo.
Hii.
Niliona alisema ati hiyo ni propaganda ya watu wa Kasongo.
Okay. So we say the status remain. Na what if there are some communication inward zinaongea, then anyway.
I ask akina Innocent wakaniambia ati Matiang'i amesema hiyo sio yake.
But also you need to know that injury also propaganda skill, eh?
Yes, so I was asking Innocent yeye akuja ademystify hiyo propaganda live kwa sababu sasa unaona people hearsay, unaona hearsay si poa.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe ni vile mimi sielewi hii format ya Matiang'i ya campaign, lakini ni sawa. Maybe mimi ni mgeni jiji. Let me see how it turns out to be. Let me not criticize his concept of campaign. Maybe it will be the winning one. It has ever been used somewhere na watu wakashida.
He can even if he comes out in 2026 anaweza.
Yes, I know is a concept inaitangwa camouflaging until it is time.
Anaweza juu hata unaona juzi Gachagua alisema aliuliza kwa nini hujatoa ati your party, akanajua akasema that one there's a time for that. Juu na akasema pia wewe unajua how Ruto behaves, yeah, and what he'll do. Unakumbuka when Matiba came towards the election from England, you remember what happened? How popularity just sway into him suddenly when people waited for him at the airport, watu wakamchukua nini. Unakumbuka how he swept everything, eh? Hiyo entrance ya mtu na euphoria, mtu kuingia na euphoria, hiyo kitu inafanyanga kazi. It works many times. So
yeah, it has worked. Mostly it works in civilized democracies. Sasa hii demokrasia ya Kasongo, it will be a trial. It's an experiment. I hope it will work, whereby mtu anatokezea and then you feel like maybe that person can come and re-energize people. Utokezee kama mkombozi. If that wave can come out, na hiyo ukombozi ionekane, people can swing there.
You come out when people are so tired, you know na, eh? And you are like you come out with a bang.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for that.
He can sweep the energy. The only thing is that we are not sure whether he's vying or not.
Yeah, maybe hiyo tu ametuweka kwa suspense, but I understand Matiang'i, maybe he also doesn't want to spend much. Because remember pia if you subject yourself in a 2 years campaign spree, we are talking of billions, we are talking of billions.
Na saa hizi si hata tuko kwa campaign, sijui tuko kwa status.
No, we are in campaign. Julia, don't be cheated, we are in campaign. Unaona ile mambo Kasongo ameanza?
I don't think tuko kwa campaign. Tuko kwa mng'ang'ano ya kunyongana. Mwenye atanyongwa kwanza.
No, what he is doing, Let me tell you what Ruto is doing with what he has done, I agree ni kunyongana. He is trying to suppress other voices. So kuna vile like but what Ruto is trying to do, he is trying to popularize his name, which has been damaged.
Ruto penye amefika
for the last 2 years,
amefika, he's trying to lie. Let me tell you, Giro.
Na ndio nasema anajaribu kutengeneza jina upya.
No, he's not making a name. He's trying to lie that he has campaigned so that he raised a platform for stealing the votes. So unaona hii mobs anatembea nazo alafu hata
fake platform, like he is trying to show like fake support,
That is what he's trying to do. He's trying to play a game, like mnaona vile nitambia Nairobi, nikatambia Kenya yote, I became popular again. That's what he's trying to. He knows he cannot get there. He's not, si mjinga na akona info, akona intelligence. He knows he's not gonna get it at all. Hata afanye nini. But so he's trying to lie. That's what Kasonga is doing. Alafu pande ile ingine, I don't think they should be campaigning. It should be planning how to jail Ruto or to get him out of power. Hiyo ndio tu, mimi sidhani saizi tuko tunaweza kuwa kwa campaign. Tuko tu kwa ile limbo ya like huyu mtu ataenda wapi, tutampeleka wapi, tutafanyaje na huyu.
But Julie, also we also need to understand first of all, let's assume they are campaigns. We also need to understand that Ruto can sustain them. He can sustain whatever he is doing up to 2027. He
can sustain, but then still unajua amejijua tu. Unajua Njiru saidi penye Kenya imefika, no amount of campaign will win Ruto votes back. The only thing he will do is to make it appear like he has campaigned so that he still votes. Hiyo ndio nafanya.
So now let me ask you a question. Our side, how will we popularize ourselves? Unaona sasa Ruto has decided to go into the streets and talk with
hata aende kwa streets. Unaona vile watu wanapigwa. Acha nikwambie Njiru, our side we don't even need 3 months na kuisha maneno, lakini sasa the problem is we have bigger challenges than even campaigning.
But you see the challenges
our challenge is not campaigning. Our
challenges they can only be solved by the government. Sasa sisi ni pengine tupige tu mdomo. We have no parliament which can action anything
our
for
biggest
us.
challenge, Jiru, is how to vote a free and fair election. And our biggest challenge is to have an election without Ruto. Hiyo ndio challenge tuko nayo. Challenge to campaign at now it can be so hard for an opposition candidate to campaign and win. No. Right now the biggest challenge is to have an election without Ruto. Hiyo ndio shida ya Wakenya saa hii, kwamba hiyo ndio shida ya Kenya iko, si ati sasa tuanze
and also to have a unifying candidate.
Yes, I don't even think that is important kama Ruto. Let me tell you, Njiru, if Ruto is not the president today, and we won't have any challenge to decide who becomes president. They cannot run if they want.
Okay, number 2.
Because you see, we have many candidates among whom we will decide who is the best. You see, and obviously we'll have the top 2 best, and we can even go for a runoff. But as long as Ruto is vying, that is the problem we have. That Ruto is the president. Ruto will manipulate the election. Ruto will do anything to remain in power. That is the problem we have. Saizi shida sikuwa na uchaguzi sahi.
And how can we get him out? Like any framework which can actually remove him out of power looks as if it is paralyzed.
There is no constitutional framework that can remove him in power right now. According to me, kuna watu wanasemanga ati parliament can do this. I always ask myself which parliament.
Of course, you cannot rely on the parliament. So if I don't see any organ in Kenya which can actually help us, from judiciary, from military, from whoever. I don't say. The only thing which can work is the civil revolution, which has refused to trigger.
Na hiyo ni kama inakuja Njiru. That is what to remove.
Sasa jana niliona mtu alijichoma pale kwa Supreme Court. Kenyans did not react. Huyo mtu tu amejichoma na hiyo story ikaisha hivyo. It did not invoke some anger. What's wrong
No.
with the Kenyans? Mtu anajichoma na Wakenya wakasiriki?
I don't know. Kenyans, it seems Kenyans you
Ama hiyo
cannot.
story kufika?
Unaona, Kenyans may not, you may not tell where Kenyans start because, can you let me ask you a question? Did you see 25th June?
25th June. Oh, ile
Did you see it?
ile ile mamesa, but sasa we have
Uliona
lost most of
ikikuja?
it. No
Wacha
one
nikuulize.
could have predicted it, but
Let me ask you, that day you woke up, did you think it was going to be like that?
no, sisi
No.
tulifikiria tu ni maandamano ya kawaida.
Yes. Mimi, I woke up, nilikuwa job, nilikuwa fanya kazi summer school. Somebody called me from home, akaniambia ati Julia, hebu ndio uone news kwanza. Nilikuwa job na kwetu hatunanga network, tangu tumefungua network nasikia, and I didn't start my laptop there. Nikaenda kwa gari, I went into my car and turned on my phone to see what was happening. That was a big surprise. So I want to tell you that another similar thing will pop up. Let me say this. Our biggest challenge now is not who will be our presidential candidate. Because as we talk, we cannot have an election with Ruto as the president and expect to win. Even if we have the most popular presidential candidate. Our biggest challenge right now is to not have Ruto as president as we go for an election. Sasa hiyo ndio shida Wakenya wanatakana kuwa wakijua saa hii.
Okay, that is a tall order. That's a tall order.
Yes. And if they are thinking of something, a civil action is a mass action, civil action is now the alternative route. Sai. Na wacha nikwambie, mimi I won't dismiss that. After 25th June, I learned that Kenyans, you cannot decide and say what they are going to do tomorrow. Chochote chaweza kutokea. That is my take. And I hope all the people, the politicians politicking around, I believe they know that, and that they know that they cannot be standing there saying twende kwa uchaguzi, sijui nani kuwe na team an election panel, and then we shall vie, and then we shall be announced. They're not expecting that. They're expected to allow them to win lying down. How? Is he an idiot? Wacha nifikisha hapo kwanza. Naona Ashley yako.
Yeah, Ashley can go ahead. I hope she's also among the frustrated Kenyans who see nothing much can change. I hope we can be done by Ruto sooner than later. I don't know how. Ashley, go ahead.
Hi, today, how are you? I'm a little under the weather, so I won't talk much. But I actually agree with Julia for one about we cannot go to the election with Ruto because he will win. Whatever it takes, whether he has to abduct people that day, whether he has to put people at the police at the police station to abduct people or switch off the internet or switch off the power, if he goes to that election, he will come out as a winner. And from what I'm seeing him doing, the way he's trying to unite every leader into akisema tuungane, it's like with time anataka kama hii election ikifanywa or even before arudishe one party system, because akisema ati waweke nini sasa, wakitaka kuingiza Kalonzo hapo, nimesikia Uhuru yuko Kiplani, and then Raila is there and every kingpin is there, then what is that but not, that is a one party system. And then, na hivyo ndio naona that's where he's heading, to put Kenya under a one party system, and we have to refuse that. How can we stop it? I don't feel like we have tried all we can. Our leaders are playing politics, and sometimes I feel like they are trying to get enough clout pia waitwe vile Raila ameitwa, wapatiwe kitu kidogo, wapatiwe deal. We don't have honesty of leaders who want to help Kenyans free themselves from the shackles that Ruto has put us. Because mtu yoyote anasema ati tugoje 2027 tuende tushinde Ruto is someone who is not either realistic or even that they are serious. Because if Ruto won when he was outside of government, akashinda Uhuru and Raila, if he honestly won, or even if he stole, how then can he be defeated when he is the president? Yani ona tu vile abduct watu live. What makes you think that on that day hawezi abduct the returning officer, akifikiria huyo returning officer ayuko saidi yake? Remember in Embakasi East, Babu Owino's location, I hear there was a commotion, and because there was a disagreement, he was abducted. So if the returning officer will refuse to do some things, ama waone mtu where they want to steal, they can't steal, they'll just abduct that person. They've been abducting people have not been reacting. So what makes us not, yani we are not being serious and realistic to see that if we go to the election with Ruto, hata wakina Kimani Ichung'wa watarudi. Nani atauliza? You will make noise just like you're making noise now, and it won't work. So if you think hiyo kitu umewekea for 2027, you need to do it now, because when we get there, if he clinches a second term, he will make himself a life president. Yani hata anaweza toa election anaseme zinaleta disunity, alafu aseme all leaders wa unite ndio wa build the country, uone hata multi-party imetolewa. That's why I see us going. How can we stop? I always say that we are told we can be ruled, we can be governed in two ways: directly through ourselves or through our elected leaders. I wonder why our attorneys have not sat down to interrogate how we can directly govern ourselves and try to see how does that look like. I've always opined and asked that if someone can go to court and ask for a decision from the court to tell us how does self-governance look like, because we have an option. It's like there is a way to go to hell and there is a way to go to heaven. I mean, that's not even similar. This one is saying we can be governed either by electing representatives, or we can opt not to elect representative and govern directly. One time when Njiro was on this show, the attorney, I said that we can even go to court on these places where they haven't had an MP for a long time. They can go to court and ask the court to guide them how they are going to do direct representation, because IEBC haiko. Kwa hivyo hata utotu opportunity to dogo to test the waters, they haven't done. So I don't see seriousness on the people who needs to be serious. That's my take for now.
Okay, so let me ask you a question now. Then, if we are talking about we don't need an election will not take us anywhere, and there are no visible signs of revolution. So, are you pre-assuming that Ruto might be here for a long time if there's no any serious action for a revolution? Which is
so we don't even need a revolution. Let me tell you. You see, like just the other day, Raila had an opportunity when the court ruled that there were the majority in both in the houses. What all he needed to do is to go to somehow they were ruled to have the majority, so they should have insisted. Once they have the majority, they could have impeached Ruto. They lost that chance. Once you impeach Ruto, that's a whole election. But they decided to go into government. Hawa tumebakisha hawa leaders, akina Kalonzo, akina Gachagua, they are not serious. Bado wanataka get enough strength, muscles, political muscle, ndio waende wakae kama Raila, waende wa negotiate na Ruto. Na hiyo political dishonesty, hiyo ndio tuko nayo. Hatuna mtu yuko mzalendo wa kusema ataenda kukomboa hii nchi. If we have, we can actually go to court. We can actually petition the court, and we can actually try to impeach people to impeach Ruto as the people. Atujaribu. Why haven't we tried that way? Because there is that direct way that we can go to rule ourselves. So why can't we try to impeach Ruto as the people? And let me tell you, hata tukaenda koti leo tuseme tunataka wa disband parliament. And we say because wako supposed kukuwa represent the people, but they are not. They have wamekataa kukuwa representatives. We can argue that case. Na kunazo na kunao kama wengine kama hata huyu senator wa Kisii Onyonka. He said that he would wish for them all to be chased away. Let us call them to court to give account, to give testimony how they are ineffective. Kwa nini tujajaribu hiyo njia? What I'm saying is we haven't tried everything and then we say tumeshindwa. That's where I'm coming from. I don't know whether I'm being unrealistic, but I just feel like if we would try that and it didn't work, then we'd think, badala tukujange hapa kudiscuss what Ruto did, alisema tusijui chapati. I think we should be coming here to decide, yani could brainstorm. How do we get Ruto out? Whatever he does, whoever he kills, kama leo nimesikia ameua mtu kwa barabara, or kama amepeana 20 million, yani why are we tunamfuati? Yani it's like Njiro, I keep following your life. If I'm following your life all the time, when am I going to build mine? That is what we are doing politically. We keep following what so-and-so said, what Raila decided, what Ruto decided. But when are we going to sit down and decide how are we going to build us and the kind of political scene that we want in Kenya? Why don't we come and discuss who do we want as a leader? How do we get this Kasogo out? Why aren't we spending more time discussing that? Tuko serious. Najua tuko serious. Life will just happen. Just like when someone is not serious in their life, life continues and it happens. And that is what will happen to us as Kenyans. But if we are serious, I am telling you, we will get him out. Because there are so many very intelligent people in that country that can come up with a way to get him out. Because nothing is impossible. Hakuna. Lakini what we haven't done is put enough effort to think of a way to get him out.
Julia, can you react to that?
Okay, I don't have faith in the courts at all, but it could be one of the pressure points that we could use. Unaona what Kasongo needs? He needs pressure from more points. What wengine wapeleke kesi kotini, and they maneuver that this government be given a vote of no confidence by the courts. Watu wengine wapeleke, hata kuna mtu amelekwa kesi kotini that Kasongo be ousted, be declared not the right person to be president. So such kind of that pressure. Now, right now, hao watu wa Gachagua wametolewa kwa parliamentary whatever committees. Saizi Gachagua sasa wangejipanga, they should regroup and try and take a vote of no confidence to parliament. I know it will be that's an uphill task, lakini they can still do that pressure point. Then we should have another pressure point, protests on the streets every day. In fact, juzi Alex alikuwa anasema kwamba tuwe na protest every city ya Kenya. Sasa these our leaders here like Ashley said, these are leaders. Now, saizi wakati wa kwanza kusema ati mimi niko kwa hii chama nitasimama, that time has not come. Like I said, right now they should be organizing people to protest. Afadhali tusikie wameshikwa kwa sababu they are organizing protests. Saizi afadhali tusikie wanashikwa, akina Gachagua, akina Martha Karua, akina Okiya Mtata, kila mtu anapanga kwao. Gachagua anaweza panga protest Mount Kenya wote na ifaulu, hata Nairobi. Gachagua kwanza anaweza move protest hata Nairobi na ifaulu. Yani wahakikishe kwamba Kasongo halali kila uchao
Na unajua kitu moja jini and it's a good thing to protest about. Isha na she, you know that thing is huge. Yani not being able, unawezaje change medical, unatoa insurance that works and bring another one that doesn't work. Hata tukisema kama, let's say like a phone company, when your phone companies are buying over, they grandfather the old one to where the people who have it, they stay with it, but once they drop, they don't get it, they get a new one, so that there is seamless transition. Kwa hivyo hata tu kama wanaweza nini watu wengi about Sisha, a lot of people are suffering because they are not being able to access medical coverage. Wangechukua hiyo, and you see that's where Raila wins, because hata saa hii ameanza kuongea about Sisha. That is the thing right now, but that Gachagua is so yani he's still out of touch. Yani hajaelewa that is the thing that is affecting people now. Na hapo ndio Raila get it. because I've had him the few times ameongea about abductions na ameongea about insurance. Na hiyo insurance kama sasa hivi kaambia
Actually, Gachagua ameongea those things. So Gachagua has been hitting on those things so much. My problem with Gachagua is now what next? Unaona? He's been hitting on all those things so much. Lakini sasa yeye saizi achukue hatua nyingine. Sasa siku tukana tu Ruto na kusema ati Ruto ulifanya. Hiyo tumesikia. Sasa what next? Sasa hiyo nataka kusikia. Aseme hata naweza sema Jumatatu hakuna kazi. Ate akue courageous. Aseme Jumatatu tuko leave kila mtu. That's the safety me I'm talking about. They should not, now all of us know our problems. Even hata nimesikia, by the way, Njiru na Ashri, mumeona ati polisi wame-threaten ku go slow. Did you see that news? I saw it in, I think in Kenya.
About the insurance, yes.
Yes. That is the time now akina Gachagua should join in. Now, imagine polisi wamesema wanaenda go slow. Na nyinyi bado mmeng'ethia. Seriously, is it not the time ya kuambia wa Kenya, yani they be courageous enough. Unaona there's something actually saying, and me I agree with her. Hao watu wanapiga ndomo wakigojea kuitwa na Ruto na kuambia Njiru unaonaje? Wanapiga ndomo wakigojea hata wakipigiwa simu.
I think some of them have political inexperiences. They don't know how to approach it. So they think that the model is that upige mdomo hoping that there will be an election. I think that is what, but they don't have the real experience to know how you can be able to thwart a government which is not doing anything. It was the same thing actually which even Ruto was having the other election. So even if he was criticizing the government, the only thing I can do is I work hard and I make sure that I rig the election. So,
but now are they working hard to rig the election? That is the question.
You can know, but they think that popularity will amount to votes. So I think mtu kama Gachagua he thinks that tukienda kwa ballot ati Ruto ataangushwa. That is what they think.
Gachagua is very he knows nini kila mimi naona ana juzi alisema he admires Raila, anataka kukuwa na power kama ya Raila ati anaweza itoa kwa table, and I'm telling you akaitwa kwa table apatiwe deal, I am so sure anaweza chukua aseme hata Raila walikuwa wamekosana na alichukua, and he would go with that. I'm telling you for a fact. Anasema hawezi chukua, like Raila was saying, na mara nyingi usema I even admire Raila. Wote wana admire Raila vile anafuatwa na watu ndio anakipa kisema watu let us come together, ndio akuwe na hiyo power ile. Ruto will see the need to call him, na hiyo ndio unaona hataki kunini, he doesn't want to ruffle too much. Ana ruffle alafu anawachilia, anauma lakini yaumi kabisa because ana ile matarajio. That's what I think.
Okay, well, you could be right, but mimi ile kitu nafikiria about Gachagua without being a spokesman ni ya kwamba hawa watu wote including akina Okiya Mutata, I think for me they think that they can cause a revolution through an election. At we can go to a ballot, there is massive rejection of Ruto and they will be voted in. That is what the illusion tells them. On whether it works, they don't know. But they think that there will be massive rejection of Ruto such that atakura ataweza kuiba. So, but nashindwa, they don't know that Museveni has been winning elections without popularity. Well,
that is very naive, and I wouldn't follow a leader like that. And I don't think Omtata is like that. I think Omtata, what he told people, by the way, he's not the one who started saying he wants to run for president. Gen Z asked him, and he said, as long as you can promise to support me, I will go. Lakini kuna kitu ingine alisema, before we go to that election, there are some few things that need to be changed about the IBC. Otherwise, tukienda na hii IBC as it is, we are not gonna win. Kwa hivyo, Omtata lacks support. Lakini I think he's more realistic about the whole issue than someone like Gachagua. I don't trust Gachagua. I feel like anataka kukuwa na enough political capital ili anaweza pia yeye enda kwa table kubagain. That is what I see him wanting to be able to do. I might be wrong, but that is how I even your meme nimemsoma. But someone like Okiya Omtatah, he's bargaining on the support of Gen Z, but he also goes to court. He has some cases in court. Yeah, IBC, na hiyo mobile polling stations, because that mobile polling station, hey, that is another animal. And he talked about it. And he talked about some issues and changes that needs to be done in the IEBC if we are going to have any credible election that have not been done up to now. And he said those ones would have to be changed before we go to an election with Ruto. Otherwise, hakuna need ya kuenda na yeye. So there's a difference between these leaders. And ni lazima tuangalie the gray, not the black and white, the gray in between, so we can see which leader is sincere and which one is not. Kama tuko na leader yuko naive, then what are we following him for? How can you follow a blind leader? He's going to lead you into a ditch. We have to have someone who is cunning, you know.
Yes, so mimi ile swali tu nataka kuuliza hapa ni can Gachagua be revolutionary? That person who can, because for you to be revolutionary, you need to build that environment. Not Gachagua alone, hata wakina Okiya Omtatah, because I know there are people who revolutionize nations. Wanasema tunataka hivi na itakuwa hivi, and everybody follows that, and actually they go and change. I saw that thing in Cuba with alikuwa anaitwaje Fidel Castro. Actually, Fidel Castro caused a revolution in Cuba in 50s. Though some people say that he was not a good leader, but his initial start is he was tired of, I think that guy was called Batista or who. So we have people who can cause revolutions. So my question to you, Ashley, is in Kenya, is it that we don't have those magnetic people who can cause revolutions? Like in America, like we have this guy ambaye anaitangwa like Louis Farrakhan, you know, like this guy Louis Farrakhan. People who have followership and they can actually be able to suppress the system into thinking. So the question which I'm asking is, don't we have revolutionary agents in Kenya who actually can say enough is enough, and actually the whole multitude comes to them?
Njiru nijibu hiyo.
Yes, Andrea.
Yes, Gachagua can be revolutionary sahi akitaka. Akona enough, gather enough muscles. Akona muscles. Lakini his intentions are not clear. That is our problem. Gachagua can. Saizi he has been able successfully balkanize the mountain. Anaweza akona muscles. Lakini hatujui anataka nini. Ama hata yeye mwenyewe hajaamua whether kuenda all the way kuangusha hii serikali. Bado anategemea kuitwa pahali kwa kona. Omtatah intentions zake ziko clear. We can trust him. Lakini hana muscles. That is the difference. That's how I see those two people. Omtatah hana muscles at all.
But you know, at the end of the day, we need that revolutionary agent if we don't need to go through an election. Because like Fidel Castro did not go through an election. He went at the top with that guy. He just went.
Njiro, what we lack in someone like Gachagua, ana conviction. Kile yuko is disgrounded by Ruto. Hana hiyo conviction. Ile, unajua ule mtu anasema, wacha niende, if I live, I live, if I die, I die. Hana, bado ni kama Sifuna. Unaona Sifuna vile anaenda, na ama Dini Nyoro, they want to be on the safe. But revolutionaries, they just have, like, kama vile huyu nini Ibrahim Traore, he just came because he had a conviction. Mimi sijaona yet Mkenya yuko na hiyo conviction, ana feel fire burning to redeem the people, ku save our watu from, mimi sijaona. Kama wako wamejificha, but I haven't seen. But I don't think Gachagua is the right person, unfortunately, unless I may have a turning of heart, because even when they had power, I did not see anything admirable on him or his wife. His wife went to TBN, akaenda kusema chokora, wame come from single families, and they are on the streets because they have single family houses, which is not true. Most of those come from 2 family houses, but this chokora thing is caused by the policies that the government have put so many people into poverty. but she's giving a different opinion. Either she does not understand or she's lying to get money to put a foundation that she can come and help those street kids, instead of her going to her husband so that their government can put policies in place so that the government, national government, can take these kids and have a national agenda or policy about these things, so that parents are held responsible for their children, age going kids, that they have to be in school or the parent is going to be in trouble, and making sure that the schools are free so that kids can go to school. So the way they were approaching it, hata kama sahi akapewa power, they would still do the same thing. So I don't see anything that he would do different. From what I observed when they were there, I was very annoyed with them too. Kwa hivyo I see it, yani sioni kama tuna any hope if our hope is in Gachagua. Personally, I just pray that God will give us somebody, because to me Gachagua ule alikuwa anaitwa kwa nini kwa ati students graduating, and he did not even have the wisdom, anakuja kuambia we don't have jobs. Really? So anyway, he did a few things, alitetea mountain, but he wasn't wise enough, because he should have done it in a wise way. Sasa sijui and then, you know, when these leaders do stupid things, they make their people to be victimized, because kama Mkikuyu leader akiiba, then they come to me and you, they start saying nyinyi wa Kikuyu wewe hujakula kitu, but you become a victim and you are victimized again, and yet you are a victim because you belong to their tribe. So when they talk carelessly and look like they are favoring their tribe, and now you get any benefit, you become a target of hate for somebody else who cannot reach them. They come and start hating on you. Now wewe haujaget kitu, so what are you, a victim? So even when we choose stupid leaders, it makes us victims. So we don't want stupid leaders that come from our tribes, because we become victimized.
Ni sawa. Wacha tusikie, it's good, but my question is maybe it's good as ukiingia. Let's understand, in Kenya, do we have a revolution agent? Because we need an agent for a revolution. Go ahead.
Okay. The history of revolutionaries is very clear, except for a few exceptionals, which actually have been studied. The two of them, which is Karl Marx and Che Guevara, they've been studied, the reason why actually they became revolutionaries. And it is admissible that at some point in their lives, they had to deny the upper class and mingle with the lower class. Somebody like Che, he had to come down and see the poverty and how disease was killing people. And that's what actually led him to be a revolutionary. So it reaches a point when you see an individual has surpassed a certain class, inakuwa like almost impossible for them to start thinking that you can destroy everything to start anew. That is why you will see negotiations in countries, because the worst kind of citizenship we have in any country is the middle class. They always sit at the fence. Now your question, do we have any? Yes, we do. But we lose them easily because they accumulate and then they get comforted. For instance, when we started with Tebaso Moran, a few days ago, you saw him in with Dr. Kingori. He's making millions and millions and millions of money, which is not wrong. But revolutionaries don't make money. They are vested in the struggle. You find them in the trenches. Okay? They don't care. Their influence and everything is based in poverty, and they don't live in mansions, even if they have the money. They invest that money in the struggle. If you look at Gachagua, there is no way you can tell me that Gachagua can lead a revolution. You get to a point whereby what you have, you can't afford to lose. If you look at Wamunyoro at a whole, the way it functions, it doesn't function like a place whereby a revolution can start from. Okay, even the way they interact and the way they I don't want to say so. He has done a lot. I don't want to go to a trajectory where I'm criticizing him, because he seems to be the only force that we can depend on right now. But when we are talking about revolution, if you look at people like Fidel, Wakina Lennon, if you look at all those people, these are people who sat down with or without nothing, and they made up their decision that they would mobilize, and their tool is only going to be people. If you look at the Angola revolution, and the people who stayed in the trenches to fight these people from Europe, they had no money, they had no weapon, they had nothing, but they had to mobilize no matter what. If you look at the ANC, okay, during the armed struggle, and when they had to go to almost every country that is within the SADC, even where they were, they never lived in opulence. They live in abject poverty, every day reminding themselves. That is why Chris Hani was so quick to condemn the ANC the moment walitoka Robben Island, because he was so shocked that within less than 3 months, Mandela was having every other thing that they couldn't believe. And they say, if this is what the path we are going to, I think we are going to lose it. And in a very few days, you saw, until 20, 25 years, since, apartheid was gotten out, they still don't have the land. At least Mugabe gave people land. At least in Kenya, we have the land. At least other countries have the South Africans do not have the land completely. So if you look at now the case of Traore, when it comes to coups, a high-ranking member of the military has never, ever done a coup. It is the captains down there, the majors, the cadets, the cadets. These are the people who, they don't sit in a DOD. These are not people who go to officers' mess. Okay? Like, there's something about revolution that it does not spark with opulence at all. It is anti-opulence. So the question you have asked is good. Everybody we are looking at has a vested interest. For a very long time, we have been looking at Raila. He's a gold smuggler in Africa. You look at Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka has so many vested interests. Okay, who else are we looking at? Morara Kebaso, we thought he was one, but right now, he's talking to Kingori on how he has 7 companies, and all of them are doing, some of them probably even government contracts. Now, who else are you talking about? Kio Mtata, I don't know what he wants, but probably the way I look at him, I don't think Kio Mtata can start a revolution. I give it to him, he has done his part, but a real revolutionary, if we were to ask, do we have in our country who can mobilize and who can totally deny himself and live in the trenches? Every leader we have is used to travel, either having a private helicopter and mali anafika already akona gazlas ziko hapo nje. So for us, unless somebody crops up from somewhere, but we will be waiting, because what does a revolution do? A revolution destroys everything to start anew. Do you think Gachagua is ready? Or Raila is ready? Or right now Kebaso is ready Who else? Who else are we looking at? Kalonzo. Leave about the rest. I don't think right now anybody is talking about the presidency because everybody is being swallowed. No, that is among the upper ranks. But now your question is good. Now we come to among the masses. Can we create a revolutionary who can do this job and can be done as quickly as possible before he gets corrupted? Yes, there are many. There's no way we can miss a revolutionary in that country. There was a time people like Babu Wino, they could have done it, but now where they have reached, they can't. They have vested interest. That's the problem. And never ever trust these people, especially when they have become wealthy. The problem is, and even the media has tried to show us lately, and I don't know who does that. There's a cameraman somewhere in Citizen that he's doing a very fantastic job, and we have never ever given him thumbs up. When these people finish the debate, they are working as Sifuna, they are hyped up, and we are so happy that they have told Kasongo whatever they are told. Now, behind the camera, I know we cannot criminalize association, but if you are a real revolutionary now, umeenda huko, there are some things you don't do after. You have to show your attitude must be anti these people no matter what. But the problem, the moment you project, for instance, a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, we were debating and we brought out this issue. Otienda Molo told us that yeye na Kimani Ichung'wah, every day in the morning they ran together. Nambadi. They openly told us that, remember there's a time FC Bunga was playing, and then Otienda Molo, that every day in the morning, anaendanga jogging na Kimani Ichung'wah. Can you trust them, Otienda Molo? If his bosom friend is Kimani Ichung'wah, so they coming from the same neighborhood, they have vested interest, and they're in a club, which is what I want to bring out, that the moment these leaders, hata kama unaona hapa nje wako hivi, they have a club of billionaires whereby, whether we like it or not, we will see the SK Macharia one day ataenda to State House. Why? Because these are the same people. I mean, when it comes to business, mtu ana invest kwa company ya huyu na huyu ana invest kwa hii, if it is in the IPO, I mean, it's in the capital market, ama iko in the stock exchange. That is how they operate. So if we want a revolution, we must create them, and they must do the job as quick as possible. And once they do it, if we are clever enough, we don't leave him to continue, because once a revolution stays in power a little bit, he will kill those people he did with the revolution. That's how the Machiavelli politics works. And then now it starts to be what? A status quo. If you look at very well the trajectory which Ibrahim Traore is taking, it's a very dangerous. And as much as he's doing a good job, now he has gone to the second phase, which is very dangerous. When the revolutionaries or the coups happen and the person supersedes the moments or the times that he said he was going to be, now he starts now. Unaona kama sahi ameanza kubadilisha the prime minister. The prime minister alimsifu about 1 or 2 months ago when Traore told him to get out. Now they start now staying in power. That's where the problem starts. So we can create a revolutionary, and once we create him, we the people, we have the narrative, and we know how to get this person out. And now, but is it easy? It's not easy. But can it be done? It can be done. But not with the current leadership, because what are we going to do? Vile Stone PK anasema, you get there, hakuna kuonea mtu huruma. Hawa watu weka miti yote vile Atwoli alisema, leta hiyo miti mahali watu wapo, nyonga wote if you want to bring Kenya into a new start. That's the only way. So do you think these people can do it? They cannot do it. Do you think we can create a person? We can create a person. What is holding us? Tribalism. Tribalism. If we get a very good Kikuyu, people will refuse. If we get a very good Jaluo, people will refuse. Maybe if we get a very good Kisi, watu watakubali. But if it's from other tribes, I think that is the problem we are having. Thank you, Njiro.
I think if we get a good Jaluo, let me say this, I don't think, like, if we get someone like PLO Lumumba, I don't think people refuse. If we get someone like Isaac Alochia, people will not refuse. I think people have a problem with ODM in particular.
I'm glad to hear that, then we are moving a step closer to that. If people could reason that, then we take an opportunity, we get an individual, not the current crop of leaders, not at all. If we can create one and is able to do the job, and we are past what Ashley you have said, I think, yes, we are capable of doing that.
But my take is, Alex, we don't create them. They create themselves. Sisi tutawaambia ati mwende mfanye hivi, watajitokeza na waamue kwamba I'm ready even to die. Sasa hao wenye tuko nao wako tu they are neither here nor there. Kuna vile wana safeguard, unaona, kuna vile hata wanaangalia wataitwa na Kasongo State House hawachatoe kitu. Sasa hiyo ndio shida tuko nayo. So saa hizi mimi sidhani tumepata mtu yote mwenye ameamua me I'm for Kenya period. Kufa na kupona. Hata unaona Gachagua is successfully mobilizing, lakini hamalizi. Unaona ile kumalizia, kuamua kwamba what next, he's not doing that. He's just like anafikisha mahali kuna kitu hataki kufanya, that their partner decisions he doesn't want to make, and this what Alex you have said, he's protecting something first, mali yake. Unaona anaangalia tukifanya hivi kutaendaje. Kwa hivyo Gachagua tu yeye hajaingia kwa bracket ya revolutionarist, kwa sababu hataki kukubali kwamba kama saizi Alex na Ashley na Njiru, saizi Gachagua anajua kwamba watu wa Mount Kenya wanamsikia sana. Saizi anajua hivyo, na saizi anajua anaweza waambia chochote tu na wafanye. Mbona afanye hivyo
And he's going to linger too long. Unaona kama hii pasi anasema ana form watu wanagojea, by the time he forms itakuwa imekuwa dilute.
Na mbona hataki your step?
Yeah, by the time he informs, something else someone more powerful than me may have come, that when he brings the party, it won't have the effect that it would have had if he made it the day he said he will. Na bado delay akasema ataanza May. Kwa nini May? Who knows that what will happen in April?
Saizi Ashley Gachagua anajua sahi hata kiamua kuambia Mount Kenya down tools. Na unajua Mount Kenya si Central peke yake, kutoka Meru, Laikipia, hata anaweza songa mpaka Narok. So unajua Mount Kenya wamesonga sana. Anajua kinawezekana. Anajua tena kwamba Mount Kenya ina include mpaka Nairobi. Bona he's not taking advantage of that. Kwa nini asaidii Kenya? Because sahi Mount Kenya inaweza saidia Kenya. Saa hivi nasema hivi. Bona afanye hivyo. Kwa sababu gani? Hayuko decided where he is. He's one among them. That's my take.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I now ask that question. Nakaribisha pia Eric, karibu sana. Maybe it's good I can ask you this question because if we have to avoid the election, because majority of people are saying that it is impossible to achieve a good election with the Kaongo. But we don't seem to have those people who can revolutionize our way of thinking in terms of either pushing a good agenda for an election or pushing for a government ouster. But we have so many voices which are still talking. So maybe, Alex, can I maybe get from you, do you think all these noises which we are having, we can mobilize them to an agenda which can actually cause a revolution, even if we don't have a revolutionary? Can it cause a revolution, which is like self-bringing, or we have to be guided as Kenyans?
Njiro, we've never taken advantage of what revolutionaries take advantage of. Let's look at one of the most studied revolution in the history is the French Revolution. I think we all agree into that. Now, what brought the French Revolution? It was the hike of the price of bread. How many times has that happened to Kenya? And did we take the advantage? I will give you a classic example, Julia, if you think that it's us who make them, instead of if it's them who make themselves. Let me give you a classic example, and I want you to talk with me in regard to this example. If there was a man who has been very vocal, very practical, very factual, very consistent, and he has trended beyond Kenya is Onyonka. And the things Onyonka has been saying, like it or not, have come to fruition. This man has made noise, and he has stood with the people of Kenya. It doesn't matter who he is. When he brought the issue of Adani, you remember he had to stop it. But it was difficult to the point that that boy had to be arrested, or his case had to be taken to court. If we had taken advantage over time to be on the side of this boy, from the time he started making noise all the way mpaka saa hivi analilia maneno ya Madia, don't you think he himself has tried so hard as a Kenyan to be on the right side of history? But we have not made a conscious decision and say, kaende, we are going with him because he knows how to make noise, he knows how to mobilize, and he goes to TV, he can debate, he can give a cogent, persuasive message to the Republic across the country, whether you are a Luo, whether you are a Luya, whether you are what, and he speaks like a Kenyan. Don't you think we could have taken advantage of that? It's a high time we must learn how to make revolution. They will give themselves to the public, but we must also take advantage of what we have at that particular time. I was listening to a certain interview it was in South Africa. Right now, everybody hates the president. And one of the ANC members was asked the condition of ANC. He said, the reason why we still must have hope in ANC is because we don't have any alternative solution. But if it came, we must leave the ANC. But for now, because we do have the ANC, we must cling to those leaders. But are there other leaders that we must also, away from the ANC, we must look for? He said, whether we like him or not, Malem will have to save this country. This is an ANC member who is saying, I think we have denied too long. We do not have the courage. We do not have the capability. We were sold out from the days of Mandela. And if ANC, if South Africa is going to solve the issue of land, whether we like it or not, the solution is Malem. Now ANC is embracing the guy finally, because they have come to a point that Elon Musk now is going to sponsor with his money the DA party, and they are going to find it very difficult for them to do what? The land thing that they want. That is also the thing about we as the people in Kenya. If we have to look and understand what we have on the plate right now, because do we have the spirit of revolution right now in the country? Yes. Is everybody pissed off? Yes. Is everybody anti even this broad-based government? Yes. Is everybody anti-Ruto? Yes. Is everybody anti the current government, the current state, and the current system? Yes. Then what is the missing spice? It is for us to know our duty on how revolutions are done. And I totally look up to our people this time around to have the narrative, not to allow the politicians to have the narrative, and make it as quick as possible, because these politicians will always come together because they have wealth that they do not want to lose. So, Njiru, I think we are failing. So we should educate our people that I think we are in the right condition for a revolution. If today Gachagua will be the best that is in town, as I've said, it's the only voice that we have. If he, as we have always said, the only voice that comes out that stops Ruto most of the time today is Gachagua. If that is the only thing we have, let it be. As long as we don't do the revolution and we make the mistake that Zimbabweans did and the North Sudan did. Because then, why go to a revolution and change the same system by personalities, but there is no change? And that is why I say we have to destroy everything. And that's what this current politician and the current state and the current people who govern this country will not want, for us to destroy everything and start anew. So, Njiro, I think we are in a point whereby I think it's on us to agree that, are we ready for that revolution? Yes. Can we make anybody come and so that we can get these people out? It's possible. I mean, ila wakati wa Dani, do you remember that our revolution was so successful with a leaderless person? Do you remember that? It was so successful until Ruto retreated. At 4 p.m. he came and he told us whatever he said. And within 24 hours, he had dismissed his cabinet. And if that is the time Gachagua was a revolution, when he was in Mombasa, when he gave the speech in Mombasa, that's the time he could have taken advantage immediately and take this guy over, because the state at that particular time was not functional. Why did they not do it? Because they were negotiating. The power brokers came because there were two camps. I think that is the time when Gachagua messed up, because Gachagua understood that Ruto was to go that night. But because the vested interest ya watu wako na pesa came and spoke with him in Mombasa, and this one was speaking, so this group came together and say, okay, let's protect our country. Iki tunasikia peace. When you hear peace, it's not really not peace. It is protecting their wealth. The problem is nobody is ready for their wealth to go down, and they start from bootstrap.
Okay, ni sawa, it's good. Wacha tusikie reaction zingine. Bwana Neutral, endelea.
Asante sana watu wote hapa wameshuhudia kwenye panel ya leo. Nataka kusema kwamba nimefurahi we are still got the same spirit to challenge the excesses of Ruto's regime. But I was fascinated by the actions of the MCAs of Meru. This Kawira Mwangaza, she must be the most impeached person I know, because now they want to get rid of her again in a different way. They are lining up cases in court against officials in her government. And then most probably the climax will be to present another impeachment process, as well as these submissions in court against officials who have been alleged to be doing criminal activities. But also they will probably climax it with impeaching her at the Senate. So we have people here from Meru. I think Jiru, you can help us with this situation. How watu wa MCAs wa Meru wametumwa, ama there is something really wrong there, that just they can't get what they want, which is basically to get rid of someone they believe is corrupt and mismanaging the economy of Meru. That's just my submission for tonight. I don't want to divert what we are discussing, but maybe someone can answer that there now or later. Thank you.
Ellie, thank you for, sorry for answering. I'm not the one you're asking. I think you're asking Jiru. Can we first exhaust what Alex was discussing? Because sometimes I feel like when we divert what we are discussing, we miss the point. We are trying to navigate. Can we have a revolution? Tunaweza kuwa na revolution Kenya. Ni viongozi tumekosa ama ni wananchi wako tayari? Kama wananchi wako tayari, tufanyeje ndio tupate kiongozi mwenye anaweza tuongoza? Unaona, Alex amesema tulikuwa na leaderless revolution June 25th, which was very successful. How can we launch that? I'm not pushing away your question, Ellie. I believe it will be revisited, but I'm just kindly requesting that we exhaust the line of thought. Asante.
Okay. I will respond to Alex's statement by giving an example of what police officers have done in the last 2 days, where they protested against a senior superintendent of the police who was collecting views. That was such an unprecedented action, practical action, which is part of a revolution action. And they say that revolution will not be televised. But you see what a fellow police officer did by taking, the whole clip, which lasted about 10 minutes, of police officers rubbishing the senior officers who was in front of them. It was about this shisha thing and other issues that are affecting the police. And these ones were coming from Makueni. And it was a full packed room. It was totally unprecedented because we've never seen such a thing where police officers are openly protesting against the government. So I think this is one of those things that if they continue, there will be a climax again of this such thing, that public officers who feel let down by actions or inactions of stupid people like Atwoli, the police will fill the vacuum and ask and demand and also fight for change in this job that they do and the things that is harming their work and how they're being mistreated. Because for now they talk about she and Sha or whatever that thing is, but essentially this can explode into something else, various things that is affecting the police and their families. So I think even them, they're already discussing what's their next move. So I believe that what Alex is really asking is that what is the practical things that might lead to such a revolution? The revolution is already there. And that's why you find that the people are openly now recording and submitting those things so that people can see what the mainstream media is not showing us, because the mainstream media is always being policed, because all they do is to give us news, but then they manage their news because they have to sell space for advertising through their print media and so on and so forth. And their biggest customer is usually the government. Thank you. We all went quiet. Ama, you guys didn't hear what I said. Thank you.
Hata mashangaa kweni watu wamenya Njiru, kweni umeenda wapi? Pen. Hi Pen. Ama huyo si Pen. You know I'm using my phone, so I don't see. Oh, ni Pen. Karibu Pen, endelea. Njiru ameenda kulala. Ni kama ametuacha kaenda kulala.
Asante sana Julie. Sasa yeye ndiye alianza hii kitu.
Pen, mjadala tunaongelelea kwamba tunajiuliza kama tunaweza kuwa na revolution Kenya, na tunajiuliza kama tuko na viongozi ama ni viongozi hatuna, ama which is the way forward, kwa sababu tunashangaa kwamba can we wait for 2027? Tutakuwa watoto wetu watakuwa wapi? Wazazi wetu watakuwa wapi? Where will we be with this chief whatever? Leo mmeona what the police were doing on the road at in the name of at sasa. Nyinyi mnashasikia wapi presidential motorcade inaua watu? Hata si motorcade, everywhere when Ruto went this week there has been chaos, violence, robbery. I don't even know what is happening. So really hatuwezi ngojea 2027. So question is, which is the way forward?
Hey Julie, that's a very hard question to answer, but it is a confusion because Njiru Mwaura ndiye alianza hii kitu ya revolutionary, na akasema kwamba I've been listening for a while. Yeye akasema kwamba Fidel Castro alikuja, huyu mtu wa Munyoro atakuja namna hiyo. No, They're very, very different ideas. Fidel Castro came from Miami with our 9 comrades. All they had was a big heart of taking out, like you said, Batista, who was turned the island of Cuba to a prostitute island, and the headquarters of all the American companies like Coca-Cola, IBM, and all that. And Fidel Castro didn't want like that. Now, yes, Watu kama Che Guevara, they were rich people that came down to teach with Watu kama Kabila, Kabila, Auyu, the father of the guy who was president in the Congo. And he taught people like Fidel Castro, but he was from a rich family. So the revolution of today, to fast forward to today, yeah, Kenya, it is very difficult to see what's happening because some of us lived around the time when JM Karaoke could really go to President's meeting, President Kenyatta's meeting, and contribute more money than Kenyatta because he knew that what Kenyatta had, and they took him out. Mzee kama Ogingo Dinga Jaramogi, that refused the land that he was given by Mzee Kenyatta because he said, we did not fight for this. We fought for the people to benefit. So the Kenyan revolution, it will be very hard to see what will happen. Vile wamesema Julie, yeah, to fast forward to where it is today, ya kwamba vile askari wanafanya vile nani Ruto anatembea, it is a confusion of everything else, you know. So ile kitu ilifanyika June 25th ya ku overthrow Ruto was very hard because any revolution, anything that has to take over power has to have a leader over a certain group, even if it's a small person, a big person, whatever. Any revolution has to have a group. I mean, a leader of that group. Now, what happened in June 25th? It was very easy for Ruto to take over and the confusion because aliambia hata huyu mtu wa Munyoro did not. He was giving it. He was negotiating from Mombasa, but who was he negotiating with? Were the people talking to him and talking to Ruto at the same time? He didn't know. So what has happened? The revolutionary ambayo Mwaura alianza ya kwamba Fidel Castro and all that is a very different examples. Very different. Ilikuwa na leader anaitwa Castro and they ruled the island. He made the island one of the most educated. It is the educated island, I mean, country in the world as of today. And their education is like 99%. The world. So, the Americas alone, the world. Now, yeye alisema he will export doctors instead of the missiles and all that. And he has done it. Lakini, to go back to our country, Kenya, it's going to be very hard. As to whether this guy will last to 27, we don't know. We hope not. Whatever takes him out, takes him out. But we don't have an example that we can use to say that this and that can take him out. Or we have done this, or people have done this to take people like that out. Vile kijana yangu Alex amesema kitu kama South Africa, say for example, ni huyu Malema. Malema does not take anything from anybody. He is a single person who has single ideas of what the ANC fought for. The ANC fought for the landless who are mostly black to get the land. And that's exactly what he has been doing today. And then you get the president of the day. He has gone in bed with the landed people, the white party. So it is going to be very. And then you have the guy who is really Tesla guy who is really powerful in America, empowering the white people to really destroy the black South Africans today as we know them. So it is going to be very difficult, but the direction we have to give is support whoever, like Julius Malema, Vile Alex Sema. Let's support somebody who could really promote the ideas of the poor, the landless, the people who don't have anything to have something. And that's what has happened all over the world. Now, when you give the poor people something, they benefit the whole society. Vile tunasemaga Kenya, if you give a woman some 10 shillings, the whole family will eat. If you give a man 10 shillings, the people in the bars will drink. We have that. We can attest to that. That's a fact. But let us know that as of right now, let us debate on how it is that we can take this route out. As of right now, personally, some of us don't see the way out, the directions ambao imefanya watu wakaajwa nyuma ama watu wakashinda is there, but it is not there right now in Kenya to help us out. Hiyo tu Julie ndio mimi nasema. Thank you.
Okay, sawa Pene Nyaraka. So Pene Nyaraka, ni kama wewe umekuja na some different reasoning about that. So Ashley, naona uko hapa. Neutral umeongea ama nipe Ashley?
Yaani Njiru ulienda wapi kusikia Eli akiongea?
Maybe kwani siku hizi anaongea kadogo aje?
Eli talked at length and he asked you a question and you didn't listen.
Aliongea sana ulilala kidogo.
Haya, sawa, nimesikia. Okay, Eli, uliza swali yako tena. Niko hapa kujibu.
Tulimwambia kwanza aliuliza maneno ya Kawira, tukamwambia we exhaust the revolution thing first.
Oh, okay.
So, but you hope you respond to him about Kawira Mwangaza later on.
Kawira Mwangaza, I'm not a student of Kawira Mwangaza. I don't support her. I believe she is another idiotic governor like any other. So it's unfortunate. Julia, the problem is that my standard for leadership is very high. So viongozi wengine wako Kenya tu nasikianga tu vibaya hata kuwataja.
Lakini Njiro, before we even talk about Kawira, how come you're not talking about Sakaja? What time does he work? And all the corruptions, and I've never had anyone bringing him to
si Sakaja amefocus. Si leo nimeona the whole day wamekuwa akipeana chapo. The whole day.
Sasa chapo, ukikula chapo nyumbani na kwenye nyumbani hakuna chakula, umesaidiwaje? Why don't you teach them to fish instead of giving them fish? Like president need to put policies in place where the parents of those children can have money to feed them. Sasa akiwa feed leo, kesho atawafeed ama next week ama next month ama next year.
But you see, in the politics, there is no idiotic concept. He knows whatever he is doing, there are some people who is trying to hoodwink. For me, I think Sakaja is not qualified to be a governor, to be even not even a governor, to an MCA. It's unfortunate that the UDA machine brought some of those crooks into some of elitistic positions. Because can you imagine Sakaja being a governor and some of the people, even in Embu, huyo mama anaitangwa Cecily Mbalile, hiyo sio material ya governor. Hiyo sio material ya governor. So anyway, it's unfortunate. Okay, actually wacha nikuulize swali. So help me to understand. Can Kenyans say enough is enough to Ruto and they participate in a serious bloodless revolution where they are able to respond to the government and they look for measures how they are going to protect themselves? Ama Mkenya akisema enough is enough, he has to go to the streets na zakaya uwe watu. There's no way in which people can react to issues and they still put government to check when it comes to death, because I think ile kitu inafanya Wakenya waogope sahi even to about any talks of revolution is that when we are talking of revolution, we are talking of death, revolution and death. So we have to sacrifice around 5,000 or 10,000 people. Is it a math lazima hao watu wote wakufe ama kuna vile raia wanaweza fanya we mitigate the damages and at the same time we are able to achieve a revolutionary moment?
That's a good question. But in order for us as Kenyans to do that, we have to be in unity. Na sahi tumeanza kukua fragmented. If you watched the news lately about what Gaucho is saying and also what is going on TikTok. So when we are like that, and that's how our leaders want us. They want us in our tribal cocoons. Na hivyo ndio hata nikienda hizi magroups si uanga nazo za WhatsApp. Unaona watu wana-attack each other in about tribe. That is where our leaders want us. Especially ukiona after June 25th, Ruto started, anasema he's saying with his mouth, analeta unity, but his actions ni kama shetani. In his actions, anataka tukae in our tribal cocoons. Because when we are in our tribal cocoons, we are easier to control because we have kingpins. All he has is to feed them. Once he feeds them, they come and calm their people. Sasa hao wanakula, hao wana insurance, hao wanakaa vizuri, na sisi tumetulia till we want peace. We are dying in peace, quietly. Now wanakula, they are living to their ripeness of age. Ukiangalia in your kwa mkoa yenu, hakuna mtu mzee. And the reason is people die before their time. They die prematurely because they don't have good education. They don't have good medical. They are not eating right. They die early. But lakini sahi tunaanza kufight ati wewe utaki nini? Nyinyi Wakikuyu. What do you mean? Mimi niliparticipate aje? Kama mimi nilidanganywa, watu wanasema nyinyi ndio mlivotia Ruto. Sasa ukidanganywa na udanganyike. How can you blame me if I was stupid enough to be lied to? Why can't you come and try to tell me, can't we now tuungane? Unionyeshe saa hii since umejua wacha tuungane. Sasa hii ujinga yetu ndio inafanya tuendelee kutawaliwa na mabwenyenye. Hii ujinga yetu. But the day we will get our unity together, we will remove them. Na kuna mtu, somebody, sijui it's good, mention Onyonka. I don't know why Onyonka does not, juzi nimesikia akiongea about Matiang'i. But I wonder why he himself cannot front himself. I know that Penn talked about Onyonka not being a good candidate, but I have things I can say about Matiang'i why I wouldn't choose him. I have things I can say about Kalonzo. I have things I can say about Gachagua. I personally don't know a lot about Onyonka. I would actually like to know more about him and see if he's viable. But so far what I have seen, how he fought for Adani without care, I just feel like he might be the revolutionary leader that we need. And we need to invite him maybe to the show if he can come. And let's hear him. Unajua, the more someone talks, the more you ask them questions, the more you can see or you can eliminate them or see, this is the leader. We actually had a leader right in front of us, but we didn't realize it. Because he's been in Senate, he's a child of a former, I think, senator or someone in parliament, but he's also down to earth. He seems to connect. Now, I might be wrong because I don't know much about him, but somebody who knows more about him can tell us more. But I think he should be someone I would consider him than Maraga. I like Maraga, but I hate that he was complaining hajapewa gari mzuri. I like Omtata because he drives a car which shows me that he will not misuse our money. He's not a spendthrift. Maraga was complaining that gari yake si up to standard. So when he gets there, he might also misuse money because he wants to a certain standard that is not for a third world country. So you see, those are the things I look at. But for Onyonka, I don't know much about him. And I would really like to know much about him because he might be the person that we need to take the mantle. That's what I have to share right now. Okay, I have a quote. In closing, I want to say, our ethnicity. It shouldn't be something that I am not tribe. I have a tribe and I am proud of my tribe, but that doesn't mean it diminishes your tribe. You should also be proud of your tribe and I should be proud of my tribe. And I shouldn't feel like nataka uyo leader atoke kwetu. Kwa nini nataka kukua favored? Why can't the Bible says that do unto others what you want them to do unto you? Why can't we choose a leader that will promote Kenya, that will promote each area so that each area can do their utmost. Because if each area in Kenya does their utmost, that elevates our country to a first world. Lakini tukirudisha one part nyuma ati na ingine iendelee, that is stupidity. A house that is divided against itself cannot stand. It will perish. So hiyo nini ya kunyima one part and giving another is what causes strife, and it will not help our country move forward. So yani, it's not hard to think that way. Lakini even your leaders wanataka kutufanya na sisi tunasema hey, ati tutapigwa. Sisi Wakikuyu tutapigwa. Wewe utapigwa nini na una anything? You know, even some of the arguments we make are so stupid. Na sasa kama each leader tukisema this area is good in this, so this president is going to make sure hiyo area imepewa pesa enough so that they can flourish in this. Yani unasikia vibaya aje na wewe ni Mkenya ati Nyanza ikiendelea ndio wakuwa wakiproduce fish, wawekewa fisheries huko, market huko, uende pala kule kuna kwa shuge kubuildiwe that will improve our country, that will improve jobs, so that even other countries will be coming to Kenya to look for work, like they go to America to look for work. Yani tumelalia masikio aje that we think that if one area that we need to do better than another area na wote tuko Kenya. How? Do you see how stupid we are? Sasa siku ile tutatoka kwa that stupidity is the day we will start our freedom.
Okay, sawa Ashley. I think well responded. Julia, do you have an issue about what Ashley was talking about when it comes to revolution before we take an high pattern?
Oh, sorry. Can I finish something? I'm so sorry, Julia. Give me 1 minute. I was reading a quote and then I stopped. It says, an ethnicity should enrich us. It should make us a unique people in our diversity and not to be used to divide us. So our ethnicity should make us better as a unit, and it should help us to make us better, but it should not be used to divide us. So if our watu tunasikiza, let us put that in our mind, that we should celebrate our individual tribes, but it should not be used to divide us.
Okay, so me, personally, I don't think we have any problem with ethnicity, the common man. It is just that our leaders try to use that to divide us. Sasa our politicians, akina Kasongo anasema tu not unite. We don't need to be united. We are already united. I mean, we are not at war in Kenya. Nobody is fighting anybody because at ini wakabila hii. So we don't need that word that we are uniting. That is irrelevant. Now, another thing, we are not shortage of leaders at this point. In fact, my take is saizi watu wenye wamejitokeza, tunataka mwenye atatuambia sasa shida yetu ni okay. Kasongo alikuwa akisema shida yetu ni Kasongo. Sasa tunataka Kasongo aende the next step. Okay, all of us know shida yetu ni Kasongo. So what the next step? That is the kind of leadership we want now. As for who become president, we shall sort ourselves out. Like I was telling Jiru sometime when he started the show. Jiru nilikwambia story ya nani atakuwa rais, hiyo si shida. As long as si Kasongo, tutajipanga. We'll have an election where we need to have a runoff. The best two will go for a runoff and the best will win. We'll not even see to debate at in Matiang, ama ni Kalonzo, ama ni nani. In fact, that will be the best election Kenya will ever had. We will not even need to have them united. No, we will not even need an alliance. We'll just need them to run for presidency, and the best will win. Lakini hivi sasa tunataka mwenye atatuambia yani Wakenya wachukue lakini my take is sijakufa moyo. Things are boiling nicely. By the time you see the police protesting, ujue Kenya iko vibaya. Na inasemekana kwamba kuna another Gen Z is coming. So bado Kasongo hajapumua. Kama anafia hata yeye mwenyewe anajua hajapumua. In fact, shida yetu ni Kasongo aende. Akienda we cross the bridge about who leads the country. After that, we have always voted democratically, and we vote and decide. If we have a runoff, well and good. The best will lead. So my take is easy tujadiliane, tujiulize, Kasongo atatoka namna gani. Tulisema when we were arguing hadi tulisema kwamba one of the ways ni kuweka pressure kwa court, kuweka pressure kwa parliament. Watu wenye wametolewa nje wa pande ya Gachagua, si wapeleke motion. Hata even Weta is dissatisfied, ni vile haongei, wapeleke motion vote of no confidence against Ruto's government. That is step number 1. Hata kama wanajua haitashinda, wapeleke tu, waweke hiyo pressure. Na yeye Gachagua wajue kwamba saa hizi watu wanamsikiza. Kwa hivyo every decision he makes people will follow. Kwa nini he's not taking advantage of that? So it is either now or never for him sahi. Hata yeye, he doesn't know that he can easily be forgotten. Saa hizi mwenye atakumbuka sahi ni mwenye atachukua the biggest step to tell us which way forward. Asante Jiru, that is my take.
Wow. Sorry. Okay, Julian,
Jiru, I'd like to respond to Ashley.
Go ahead, nimekuachia.
Yes, Ashley was window shopping there for leaders who would be, say, appropriate leaders for, in terms of this revolution. And she mentioned Richard Onyonka, who is quite an exemplary leader. But I think Ashley wanted to know a bit about Richard Onyonka's background. There has not been any big scandal that follows Richard Onyonka. But I think the politics of Kisii, I wish Alex was here, but the politics of Kisii, especially between himself and the governor there, Richard Onyonka and this governor, Simba Arati, is probably one of the things that would weaken Richard Onyonka because of Simba Arati's national politics. But besides that, Onyonka can surprise many people, and I would support someone like him to venture into national leadership because he's kind of sober-minded. He does not throw tantrums. He's ready to risk his life, literally, by speaking out, openly. Richard Onyonka, like Kina Isaac Ruto of the past, and even these other jokers who, Kina Lumumba hapa PLO, who now are seen as serious leaders. There are people who were involved or were accused of being involved in the 1982 coup as students at Nairobi University. Some of them sold the other ones. There's a story of Kina Isaac Ruto, na nisiseme mengi, lakini watu kama Richard Onyonka, yeye baba yake alikuwa minister, na yeye alishikwa Richard Onyonka during that coup when there was a swap on students at different universities in Kenya, especially in Nairobi, which was basically the main university at the time. And the fact that his history is linked to that terrorism of Moi against Wananchi after the coup is clear history to show that this man can be one that can be trusted because he believes in what he says, But of course, he was one of those who were lucky to escape the trials of Moi akaenda huko United States of America. His father also did not have, I know you mentioned his father there, Ashley. Onyonka was, I think, the only MP who won a seat while in prison ever in Kenyan politics, because he was allegedly accused of being involved in a fracas where his bodyguard shot someone dead, a guy who was called Uhuru Ndege, and who was shot dead, a fellow Kisii man during the campaigns of 1983.
Really?
And no, I'm responding to the background of Richard Onyonka, historical background. So I have to finish this, because I know what you're saying.
His father was guilty of that one. Go ahead. But he was guilty as well.
Oh, sikujua ni wewe, nilikuwa nafikiri ni Njiru. Haya. So alipelekwa Kodiaga huko Kisumu. Si ati alioza kwa prison, alikuwa huko.
He was as guilty as hell. The dad was guilty as hell because he had taken that Ndege guy to go register in Kisumu, and then when he went there, it was too late, and he ended up shooting him. He was guilty, not necessarily that he won the elections. It was a manipulation of the elections. His father was very popular when he beat Lawrence George Sagini, who were the leaders of the Kisii at that time. His father was very popular. But that one that you said, my friend, that guy was as guilty as they come.
Yes, okay. I'm not supporting, Zachary Onyonka in that way. I'm saying that he is recorded to be the only Kenyan politician who, while in prison, amepatiwa hicho kiti cha parliament. But besides that, and I think he stayed in prison in Kodiaga for 6 months. And he was a close ally of Moi, but Moi did not mind him going to prison. So all these trials that have faced that family, so Richard Onyonka doesn't come, well, he comes from a silver platter, but he has seen what the Kenyan government can do to you, whether you're coming from a charismatic leader in the family who is known, nationally, because Onyonka was quite charismatic, and a person who was he was one of those economists that you could compare with Mwai Kibaki. That's why for years he was Minister for Planning. So anyway, those are the elitist backgrounds of Richard Onyonka. Lakini kusema ukweli, mimi namuona kama ni mtu ambayo akijaribu kuwa kwa national leadership, kitu ambacho kitamsumbua sana ni zile politics za Kisii peke yake, kwa sababu he can change the Kisii politics, but they're always resisting him. Mzee Penny can tell us more. I don't know, but I think that Kisii is a powerful community, which for a long time has been marginalized by national politics. And to see a leader like Onyonka emerge, would be a good thing. The problem is that Richard Onyonka, in terms of the race against other politicians, they will just see him as the other. They will not take him seriously. Kenyans who know him because of how he has been involved before and after the revolution started, they know that he's a good leader. Me, I personally would support, Richard Onyonka, because I think he's a very, very sober mind and he knows what he's talking about. So I would support what Ashley said there, because I think that this would be a very, very good leader for the country. I am totally against a revolution that involves Fred Matiang'i, because I would look at the history of Matiang'i and I would be very biased against him. So, and that's just my personal opinion. There was some news going around that Matiang'i has withdrawn from being interested in national politics. I don't know how true that is, but I think he's earning a lot of money working in the World Bank or UN, something like that. So he's not really interested in the small monies of Kenyan politics, But I would stick to the tempo that we have in this revolution as it's going step by step, I don't think that there is something that is going wrong at the moment. I think that people know what they're doing. And that example of those police officers doing what they did 2 days ago or yesterday, it will really, really explode into something else. And it's a good start. So let's wait for more. Haya, ya mwisho, mtu ambaye anaweza kumtoa yule Atuoli, people think I'm obsessed with that. That will solve a huge chunk of our problem. Kumtoa Atuoli kwa hilo chair of Secretary General of Kotu. This will solve a huge part of our problem. But then replacing Atuoli would also be a problem, because I think a lot of those trade union officials, most of them are just like Atuoli. So sijui kama the youth, how they will get into this is a big question that needs to be considered for this type of revolution. Thank you.
Okay, sawa. Bwana Nyagaka, you wanted to add something in that respect. Sama.
Yes, yangu tu ni ku add what Ashley had said. Ya kwamba let us debate about what Onyonka is coming with, and whatever it comes with, that's okay. But there was one time they were raising funds actually for the members of parliament, and they always passed the funds about they raised. And Richard's argument was he needed the funds so that he can pay off the bills that he had accumulated. And we were like, we didn't tell your dad to accumulate any funds for you to do that. But we actually have and it's a very good argument, is that we need to hear more about what these guys are talking about. Now, that we have personally against you, Nani Richard, he has danced all over the place. He got beat one time, and then he went and paid the little bigger, and he got a ticket, and he won then he won the ticket through ODM, and that was an undercurrent issue. What actually anasema to party kama they were doing that, there's a way out, there's no problem. Lakini lazima tujue, or let us talk about the issues like that at length. Lakini huyu Richard, ile vitu baba yake alifanya na vile nani Richard anafanya, we know them. We have seen them. We have when his daddy won the election the first time, he was very, very popular. Professor Zachary Onyonka, and one of the best economists that Kenya has ever produced. And baadaye India he died of a stroke or something. But anyway, that's a wrong story altogether. But yeah, nowadays, so actually, let us talk. I'll have a very clear argument as to what it is that Richard is offering us, and then if he convinces us for the most part, so be it. So be good and clear. But when we have issues about how he has done it from this party to another party, to this way to that way, back up, I'm thinking about the attack. So we have an issue with that, but we do not hold it permanently because he was young at that time. At that time, a friend here. So we want to know exactly what he was thinking about at that time and what he's thinking about right now. You too. Yeah. When they're there.
Hey, Penny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nasikia hapo kwa chat kuna mtu hapo Dandario anauliza ati nani Zachary alikuwa na second wife.
Yeah.
That's Yes, of course it did. He had a woman from Tanzania, and then the other one was Kenyan, I think, from Central. But it's funny that someone would ask such a question, you know.
Even Richard's wife, mom was Kisii. And he didn't raise him until he went to high school, second school.
Mi najua hiyo family sana kwa sababu nilisoma hiyo shule just next door to Onyonka's home. So najua hiyo family sana kabisa. Sasa hizo Musocho mbili hizo. So hiyo ya primary na ya high school.
Okay,
so ndio maana naongea najua Kikisii kwa sababu niliishi hapo hivyo. Hapana.
Ile primary nipa pesa mingi bwana.
Hapana, hiyo si ukweli. Hiyo ya primary si ilikuwa missionary school.
Okay.
Alafu ya secondary pia, by the way, it was just a Catholic missionary schools. But these people, they used to visit the school. I remember when we went on strike one time, and Zachary Onyonka came and gave us a lecture. Alikuja na bodyguard hapo, wako na bunduki hapo, wametukalia chini hapo kwa nini hapo shuleni. Zachary Onyonka alikuwa serious sana. So nakumbuka hiyo situation sana. Hata kijana wake alisoma na alikuwa kwa klasi yangu. Huyo kijana wake huyo pilot. So this guy is very accessible, by the way. Richard Onyonka is a person you can invite here, and he won't take you around like this. He will just say, yes, I can come and speak to the panel or to the people in your broadcasts. No problem.
I'll talk about America, and he knows the American ways very well. So,
I think Ashley is right. We should invite some of these leaders who are accessible, and they're not doing their politics just for showing off. They're serious about what they're doing. I think, and I'm so happy that someone dropped Richard Onyonka's name today, because these are the leaders that we want. Even hata kama hataki kuwa president, lakini akuwe mbele hapo kwa hii revolution. And I think he's not shy to be involved in such a thing.
Yeah.
He was interviewed the other day. He said, ukijaribu kunipatia bribe, I will tell the public who you are and what you have tried to do to me, to give me a bribe, to bribe me. There are not many Kenyan politicians who will speak like that.
I saw him, Eli. I saw him with Okiya Mutata in one interview, and they were like on agreement on so many issues. I saw him with Okiya Mutata the other day, and it's unfortunate that serious people in Kenya are not able to reach anywhere, especially when it comes to the big seat. Unasikia all the time, kama ni principal wa shule, watu wanataka principal ambaye akuli pesa. Unasikia watu wakisema tunataka mtu mzuri, lakini ikifika pale kwa president, it's like we don't care as Kenyans. So maybe, Eli, can I ask you that? Is it that we don't care, in a church we want a good leader everywhere, ati tunataka kiongozi mzuri, but kwa nini ikifika pale juu ni kama hatu concentrate sana? What is the problem?
I can't even imagine why we do such a thing. I don't know. I can't imagine why. What I know is that the young people who mobilized in last year, they're kind of trying to change that item that you've just mentioned. Because I think these young people, if they were the ones to vote en masse in 2013, I don't think that they could have voted for Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. That's just my opinion. Because I'm believing them more and more when I when I encounter this youth generation that did what they did last year. But the question you asked, why is it that we will just accept any leader at the presidency level? Maybe it's just because the transition from Moism is a long one. We were used to Moi for so many years. So we just want another thug like Moi. I don't know. Maybe other people might have an answer to this question.
Eli, did you ever go to Riverside?
Kabisa. Kule chini after Mosocho Academy, uko chini.
Yes.
Ukielekea Uyugis.
Yes, that belonged to the guy that ended up putting Onyonga in jail. That belonged to him.
Oh, yes. But the politics of Kisii are very tight. This is the only problem that Richard Onyonga can face. Because in Kisii politics, the ground is so important. They can affect your national politics. That's what I saw in Kisii.
Mm-hmm. And you have to go to funerals.
Okay.
Mini, is it Ellie? We need to rise beyond those politics of our communities, that tribal politics, because like even in Central, they feel like they have to have someone representing them. But these people who represent them, they represent them when it's time for voting, but when they go into those seats, they don't represent them when it comes to like why I called someone like Kalonzo when they went to the NADCO, when they were coming up with the NADCO, he went there to fight for people's the high cost of living. He went to fight there for electoral justice, among others. What did he come up with? They came up with the NADCO report, which included the mobile polling stations. They came up with the NADCO report, which included creating seats for. Why did he not refuse those? And that's why I don't support him to become anything in power. I don't feel like we need to reward him with any position, because when it mattered most on national politics, he went and sold out because he himself felt like whatever he had negotiated, he himself would benefit. When you look at the NADCO report, it has nothing for the people. Now imagine that person going into the international scene to negotiate on behalf of Kenya. If he was promised some back end, some back end for himself, don't you think he would still get a bad deal just as long as he profits? So if he went to NADCO, what did he bring for the people? Nothing. Then we want to consider him seriously as a candidate? I have a problem with that. Like, he hasn't shown us any good reason, apart from taking out Ruto, that we should consider him. I haven't seen personally, because he came and said this is a good start. Okay, now you agreed for us to have an opposition office. That means with a lot of staff, with a prime minister, with 2 deputies, and we went there because the cost of living was already high. These offices, where is this money going to come from? Did he ask that? When he accepted that, and they are saying that to help the country so that they can go and help. Since we already don't have money, if we add these offices, where is that money going to come from? And if we are paying these offices, are we going to have anything left for development? What we have in Kenya ni ujinga mwingi. And the duty of us is to talk more to every household so that we can tutoa hiyo ujinga ya kufikiria mtu wetu akikuwa in power ati tunasaidika, ama kufikiria wakileta hiyo roads in Central wamnyime kule kwingine tutasaidika, because we won't, as a country we won't grow. Sasa tukitoa hiyo kwa akili, then someone like Ononka won't have a problem getting votes in Kisii or any other part of the country, because they will know he will go there and be a national leader that will work for the nation. And that means putting in place policies that help people who work hard get something, move ahead. You know, I saw someone write somewhere today that people want that they are expecting Ruto to give them things. No, nobody is expecting. They are saying you need to go and work. Who has said Ruto to give them? All we need is good policies so that businesses can thrive, so that those who want to work hard can work hard and get something, so that our children can go to school without any child that wants to go to school should go to school. School should be free. The government should make sure that say that every school age child should be in school. If you're not in school, your parent is going to get in trouble. Where is this money going to come from? They cut all the lean, all their pork, all these extra benefit they have in themselves. If Ruto reduces his trips, all this money, kuna pesa zingine kwa budget, and it's not supposed to be asked where it's going from. Na hizo ndio Ruto anaenda waste. That money can go to make sure that each child goes to school. Such things. Sasa hata Wamonyoro wanasema, let us create a government that will be for us. Hajatuambia how is that government that is not Ruto's is going to benefit the people? The only benefit tunaambiwa ni kutoa Ruto. To me, that is not acceptable. We need to hear more than kutoa Ruto. Then what? How is it going to benefit me to kitoa Ruto if we get someone else similar like him? So you have to tell us to Kimtoa, this is what we want. Give us tangible things that we can see. This is what we are going to do to Kimtoa, so that we can know what we are believing in. It's not just Kumtoa. I need someone else to talk on that, because I have a problem with them saying kutoa Ruto. That's the only goal. And that cannot be the only goal. If that's the only goal, there is a problem.
Actually, Jilu, what actually, that's a very good point you make about NADCO. Now, Nani Kalonzo Anasema is a senior lawyer. It makes a joke of the legal system in Kenya today. Some of us grew up when Jojo was a Minister of Justice, Attorney General, that it was more serious than it is right now. And everything that is in NADCO is in the Kenyan constitution of today. Those members of parliament should solve those issues as of today. They didn't have to do anything with the NADCO. How can that be a senior lawyer, right, accepting or lighting some nonsensical issues like that? There is nothing in that NADCO that is not already traversed, talked about in the Kenyan constitution of today. So actually, nakubali na wewe sana ya kwamba all those guys want there for is to look for their only job. Now, this Kalonzo thought that he will have this and that, and we're very, very proud of people like Karawale who have really rubbished that nonsense. Thank you. Remember this.
Okay, so who want to react to Ashley?
Yeah, I want to react. The problem right now is Ruto. That is the main problem. So we cannot do any other thing as long as Ruto is president. We cannot talk about good governance as long as Ruto is president. We cannot talk about anti-corruption as long as Ruto is government. If we have, you see, hata shida yetu saa hizi, you see, if we want an election right now, how can we have an election by somebody whom we still believe ataimba uchaguzi? Hata kama tutasema tuende kwa uchaguzi saa hii, how can we expect to do that? Ruto is a disease in Kenya right now. So anybody saying tutoe Ruto is on the right direction. That is how I see it. Because we cannot do anything else before Ruto atoke. Hatuwezi tenda fanya chochote. We cannot change our health section. We cannot, you see, and not just Ruto, this kind of leaders, the Ruto legacy. We have all outlined them here. Anybody with that kind of reason hatumtaki. Na Ruto ni wengi. Kasongo ni wengi. Na Kasongo huyu mwenyewe anawaongoza saa hii. So we need all this kind of leadership out. So that is our biggest problem right now. So if they are saying that, I agree with them. That is why I'm saying, if we have even a government ya kushikilia presiding us for an election, a free and fair election. How we do that is also another task. Tutafanya aje. How we ensure that we have a free and fair election, that's another task again that we have ahead of us. So me, that is what I believe, that shida yetu saa hii ni Kasongo. Mtu aniambie kama tuko na shida ingine kubwa kuliko Kasongo saa hii Kenya.
Well, okay, so what an advance kidogo, I want to ask another question. Because we are talking, it's like we have reduced our problems into one man. And I don't know where that one man is also interacting with the system. The system, because I believe a government is run by a system. So there is a question which I'm asking today. We know Ruto is a destructive president. That one we agree. But let's assume today we have President Okiya Omtata. Are things going to be better or to be good?
Yes, Njiru, I want to tell you something. The bulk stops at the presidency. The bulk stops at the presidency. It's not that Kenya, we don't have laws. We have laws. Because the presidency decides whether to implement the laws or not. Mukichagua mkora, serikali yenyu ni ya majambazi. The bulk stops. Me, I totally believe Okiya Omtata, let me tell you, in fact, he's one of the people that I have confidence in. In fact, I have an utmost confidence in Okiya Omtata, unless atabadilika in future, unless he'll change. Because the bulk stops at the presidency. Because I would expect Okiya Omtata to implement the law to the latter. Kumaanisha, I would not expect him to work with corrupt leaders, corrupt cabinet, corrupt politicians. I would not expect him to go to be buying parliament to support his bills. Sita expect that atakuwa akimwaga pesa bunge ndio they back his bills. I would not expect him to compromise the judiciary. And if we have a 5-year na Okiya Omtata presidency, unaona, things just need one person to change. All these countries we talk about, like in Singapore and the others, they only needed a certain regime. One regime came in and changed the situation. It's not that they didn't have the laws. Si ati wako na masheria, apana. They only had a regime change, and that marked the change of their country forever. Things like countries like South Korea. We have a lot of countries you can talk about. The regime change meant everything and everything. That is it. Kenya tuko na sheria. We have a constitution. We have a progressive constitution. It is not that our constitution is any problematic. Apana. Ni vile ata law enforcers, they don't. For example, today, let me ask you. Today, a presidential motorcade did a hit and run and killed a foreigner. Not any mistake.
Judy, we lost you. Who can pick up from Judy? Neutral. Can you pick up, like I asked, if today we have a President Okiya Omtata, are things going to change? Are we going to have a transforming Kenya?
Okiya Omtata is probably known as the most litigious person in the whole country because he has been in and out of court, stopping maybe some parliamentary bills, stopping processes by government, any legalities or things that people are accusing him of being a lobbyist for companies and so on and so forth. If you try to do things in Kenya, people will gang and say, this person, there is something anafanya hapa hivi ambayo si clear. So yeye pia kona hiyo baggage. Watu wamesema yeye ni kama, like in America where you guys, some of you are in America, litigation, yani watu wanangoja tu kwa sababu lawsuits are there. It's just part of life there. So Okiya was being, compared compared in these legal situations with other people or other actors in Kenyan political landscape as mtu wa kichwa ngumu, na pengine yeye ni lobbyist ambaye analipwa pesa. Mimi sina facts about that, but I know that this is some of the things that people were discussing about him, you know. In the same way, for example, Martin Shikuku was accused, George Anyona was accused, and many other people that they had received money from Moi or during the, Kamlesh Patni's Golden Bug. So to say that Okia Mtata as a presidential candidate and eventually becoming a president would, bring us to a new paradigm shift in Kenya, I don't know. I don't know. Because people have said things about him, and me, I don't know if they're true or false. Because these things that people have said could come from maybe his enemies, or they could be factual or semi-factual, because you don't just go to court and want, the bench to hear you without you having any substantive income while you're doing all that. Because Okia is well read and he knew what he was going to challenge when he goes to the courtroom. But I cannot, summarize Okia Mtata as a potential candidate just because of his court cases against the state. Because the man has a lot more to offer in terms of changing the country. But I am still not satisfied with Okia Mtata. I don't think, to me, I think he would serve as a very, very potential, figurehead in terms of the revolution, but not as the ultimate leader in government, because he has some weak points as well. We need someone strong, whether it's a woman or a man, who can change this country. Someone who can just say, this is the new culture. And I think this is the kind of thing that we saw that was done in places like Singapore and Malaysia. Yani mtu anasema that we don't just throw in Waititu and the wife to jail, but we throw people wengi tunaweka ndani, washaiba pesa ya nini, ya serikali, pesa ya umma, wengi wanaingia jela. Si hizi zingine za sijui Waititu, just one person there, no. When Waititu went to jail, him and his wife, the first thing I thought was that he'd be out in a few days because he has the networks. If he doesn't have the money to get himself released, because the judge gave that option about paying the fine, the huge fine. So I thought he was just going to walk out within a week at least. But that hasn't happened. Maybe it's due to happen. But also, I thought that after the case against Waititu, which has been lying about for a number of years, I thought that many more, that this would now be a domino effect where the courts have now decided they're clamping down on public officers who have been stealing. But that never happened. It was just Waititu. So in a leader that we want, I think the revolution must bring in a leader who is able to curtail crime amongst public officers and say, this number of people are going to jail. Even without caring about you're affecting the judiciary, how they make their decision. You know what these people did. They're going to jail. That's the type of leader, personally, I feel that we should have. But in Okia Mtata, I don't think we can have that, because his democratic credentials and liberal objectivity, he will not allow people who have been, stealing from the economy to just simply go to jail. I think he would be very objective. And me, I want someone, like I remember during the campaigns, Karua was saying that, hey, Nikingia as justice minister. In fact, I want to be deputy president with justice ministry functions. I am sending people to jail. I remember Karua said that. But because these politicians, they're all interconnected, they know that Ruto knows the crimes of Uhuru and Uhuru knows the crimes of Ruto. These people, they cannot send each other to, to the cooler, to jail. I'm using that as an example, not that that would happen. And that's what affects our politics. So we need a strong leader. That's my statement about that. That's my response to your question, Njiru, because if we don't get a strong leader, in the way those people did their thing in Singapore, in Taiwan, in Malaysia, hey, huko si ati unaleta mchezo, unaingia ndani tu hakuna shida. And I think that's one of the things that has changed those economies, because after having the revolution, how do you complete it? Do you then just say, okay, Okia Mtata is our new president? What are his values? What way is he going to deal with the justice system? All these other people, I see a lot of jokers, by the way, who would never dare touch a live wire moment when it means I am sending someone like Gideon Buvi, aka Sonko, to jail because I know the bad things that he has done to the economy. Just in the same way people are afraid of Babu Owino. And I don't really know why people are afraid of a man who nearly killed someone. Lakini wanamwogopa. Hata kwa hii panel pengine watu watasema lakini alisaidia wanafunzi, during COVID, sijui he was doing lectures, sijui what, the universe is not perfect. But it's simply because he is a person who is feared. So to me, I would want a leader who does not fear to respect the constitution.
As you speak, I gave like Okia Mtata like as an example. I'm not limiting this. I was just asking. Other than Ruto, let's assume we have another person who is the president. Can things be better? What is doable and not doable based on what Ruto is doing?
So what do you mean by better? You're being generic. What
no, I'm not
say
generic.
what exactly? No, when you say things be better, can you what exactly?
Already we are worse. We are, when you say like maybe you have an organized health system, you have organized. So that's what I'm asking about better. Like, can things be better?
Yeah, it's better. Organized health system. I think that is a better way to say, instead of just generalizing things be better, say, can we have rule of law, by the way, and obedience to the constitutions? Those are the two things that are a problem. And that's where Okia Omtata comes in. Okia Omtata, I know someone was saying about lobbying. There is no case. Those rumors, there have been no case. These other people, like I said, I can give you a reason why I have hesitation on them with the examples that are known. But this one, Okia, is like a smear because there is nothing you can point him to. And being that he has been fighting government, there should be something that you can actually give as a quantitative or something that can be seen. Especially government has a good way. Sasa unaona vile Nyoro amekuwa exposed. Na wakasema the government always know. The government know who kills Mosando, but that person has been playing to their music. So as long as he continues to play to their music, they will never reveal that person. One day, if that person decides to have a hard head, you will come to find out who kills Mosando. Kwa hivyo hata huyo Okia Omtata, if it is true that he has been lobbying, I am telling you the fact that he has been fighting government would actually know who he has been lobbying with, how much he has been bribed. That is something that would be public knowledge. The fact that it is just a rumor is because it is a smear.
Okay, that's okay. Let me welcome Stone PK to react to that. Bwana Stone, we are talking about revolutions. Sijui kama ulikuwa unatufuatilia. And maybe nitakupea an opportunity, I will be back. But I want what we were discussing here at wrong path is what we are asking is do we have revolutionaries in Kenya? And why are those revolutionaries not preempting any revolution in Kenya? Or what is the problem? Maybe if I put it as maybe iliweza sasa kuingia vile watu waliingia. So that is what we were discussing, Stone PK. We were talking about though we see other revolutionaries in other countries. How comes in Kenya we don't have like people who can trigger revolutions? Sisi tu lazima tu tuumie tu. Go ahead, Stone.
Thank you, Njiru. I hope niko sawa. Na nisikia
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, yeah, na wasalimu wote kwa jina la channel Hamjambo. Haya, sawa. That's a nice one. A nice question, and also it's a good time to think. You know, we think inwardly. We look at ourselves inwardly and now begin to accept, to kubali what is possible, who we are, you know, because we've been in denial for quite some time. And the denial is that, one, we deny that Kenya inaibiwa, and we deny that mwananchi wa kawaida has no power at all. What is written in the constitution is just ni flower, ni ile tu sugar coating. All right. Now we are also in denial that the rich, the politicians, the tycoons, the thugs, for lack of a better word. And when I talk about the thugs, I'm talking about Raila and the group, Raila, Ruto, Uhuru, all those guys are they have all eaten from the same plate. They have looted the country, and they know how the looting has been going. And the only time you hear somebody screaming is when he knows 1.6 trillion, 1.104 million has been stolen, na hakuangushiwa kakitu, ndiye anaenda anapiga nduru. All right. So Kenyans, we've been duped. Tumekuwa tukidanganywa miaka hii yote. The only small period where we were considered as citizens ni hiyo watu huwa wanaimba the 3 years of Kibaki, the first 3 years of Kibaki. But then when now the tyrants, the thugs, realized that mwananchi was getting empowered, they all regrouped. They regrouped, and they even regrouped and put Kibaki under very tight corner, and that's why he was cornered with his health. He could not breathe, he could not do nothing. You know, that's why he realized even the second term, he was told he could never let the election go to anybody else. Yeah, because waizi Kenya ni wengi. Now, that gives you a reason that the power lies with the thugs. The power lies with the looters, those who have looted this country dry. So when they have power, and when we talk of power, is they control the money, they control the economy, and Kenyans by culture, we cherish and adore them. Okay? We cherish and adore them. So there can never be a revolution when we cherish and adore murderers. You know? Right now, you see, we are saying Kasongo, Kaongo, whatever is bad. But look at the ulabalu, the dancing. But then Kenyans tunakuwa ingineo tunasema the crowd has been paid, the crowd has been bought, the crowd. Look at that. But whether they are bought or they are not bought, they are there dancing and cherish and wanafurahia. Now, how do revolutions work? Revolutions don't work with the likes of those who are in front claiming to be leaders. Hakuna, it's not possible. In fact, those who lead revolutions, you never see them wako huku backbencher, all right? Wako backbencher, marking time and she's waiting for the opportune moment, all right? So I can't rule out that hakuna capacity ya cause revolution, but again watu wamekandamizwa ile kwamba ukijaribu tu kutokelezea hivi you'll be met with very great force. All right, now number two, as much as I think there could be one or two or three people who are bitter and all whatever, tuna uoga. That uoga unaisikia almost in everybody's mouth, even on this channel. Oh, we will lose a country. Oh, we have a constitution. Oh, we are God-fearing. That's the worst. We are God-fearing. You are God-fearing when people are being killed, murdered, abducted, money for hospitals are kuna. People are dying in numbers. Yet you are God-fearing. You even say hiyo tuachie Mungu tu. Mungu ndiye anajua kule Kenya inaenda. How can we talk of that? Mungu atusaidie 2027 ndio tutaweza kutoa Ruto. Unajua Kenya is the most respected country. Kenya is the beacon of the democracy in Africa. Kenya is this, Kenya is that. All that is garbage. It's nonsense. Okay? Kenya is only enjoyable to those the billionaires. All right? Because if Kenya was a beacon of democracy, then we would be having a very quick removal of whoever tries to circumvent democracy. But now, what have we been having? We've been having people dancing to Kasongo because wanapewa pesa. They are pretending. All right? Look at it this way. How I know people are saying, "Oh, don't talk about Raila because you see, you guys refuse to do this." How contradicting can we be? At one time, we were on the street saying kura imeibiwa. Raila was with us akatuonyesha numbers. So what has happened to Kenyans to start blaming others, saying that Kenyans refuse to elect Raila? Honestly, at what point did we now come to get convinced that Kenyans refuse to elect Raila? The 200,000 votes, those are the ones that refused to elect Raila or to make Raila win. And at what time did we get convinced now otherwise? Ndio tuanze sasa hii blame naisikia sasa everywhere. Actually, what I've heard is like we have affirmed that Ruto won elections. That is now affirmed from everywhere, every corner. I hear people talking. It is no longer kura ziliibiwa. So it is now blaming. Watu wana blame. Oh, mlima mlichagua Ruto Mulambe. Oh, watu sijui alifanya nini ni Ruto wenyu. Surely, with those kind of kuyumba, do you expect to see a revolution? In fact, I say kudos to the 12 guys, I think 12 or 10 guys who went to State House. And unfortunately, there is no information that has been divulged. But I think those guys, whatever they did, whatever move they were making, it must have been a very, whatever it was, unfortunately, they were caught, okay? But I don't know how it was. So basically it's hard for us to have a revolution in our country, Kenya, because we don't believe in it. That's number one, because you have to believe in it. People are saying you don't believe in taking power by force. So, unangoja. That's why Raila could not take power from Bomas by force, because he agreed. Alikuwa amechora deal. Alikuwa ametukon kabisa, alikon kila mtu. So they knew. In fact, I think he knew very well what was going on, and now is when mambo inachipuka. Okay, things are coming to get known. So revolution in Kenya ni mbali, ni kama kupigia mbuzi gitaa. Kugandamizwa, yes, Kenya itagandamizwa, and the end result is that Kenya itasambaratika, and then it will rebuild again. After everyone now will not be able to breathe, maybe that's when there will be an uprising. But the uprising might be in pockets, you know, pockets, as Raila, Ruto, and the Uhurus, they dine and wine. Okay, it is, in fact, Kenyan scenario is a very, very sad scenario. Very sad indeed. It is a scenario whereby there will be no rule of law. People will die young people will die in numbers like they are dying. Okay, people will stop going to school. School will only be for the very few rich people. All right, and that is what that's the kind of country you're going to have. All right, and for me, I don't need a prophet to tell me. I just look at the trend. I look at the rate at which we are accelerating ourselves towards the ditch or towards the valley. You know, when you started stealing millions and you moved very quickly to billions, then now very quickly you hop, skip, and jump to trillions. I wonder what we shall steal next. And that's a country with people claiming to have 50 million people together with Wale Wadogo. That's a country that is seated as Ruto is screwing it left, right, and center. And it's a country ina wanaume na wanawake wana nguvu, but then you tell me there can be a revolution? Surely, I don't think so. I don't see anything like that. Don't see anything like that when you have the Luo Nyanza, you know, condemning everybody else, telling you Achanana Raila Akai kule ameka. What he has done is okay. Last night I was passing around, I overheard somebody trying to condemn, trying to talk very badly about people in diaspora. Look at Kenyans. I'm telling you, Kenyans tuna ugonjwa. Wivu ile tuko nao ni mbaya. You know, people wanatoa hasira na ati diaspora, they are talking like that because they are there. Unasikia tu mtu ana machungu na kuna mtu amekatazwa kwenda diaspora, you know, the bitterness za ujinga. So are those people, hao ndio utaita wafanye revolution? People who wanakuambia you know, nyinyi mnajidai mna pesa nini na nini, tuwivu tule twa ujinga twingi. So that by itself, it is reflected everywhere. I also attended another space whereby it was fire kabisa. It was fire. It was Luos versus Kikuyus. You know, now we have degenerated into stupidity. Okay, fire. TikTok. It was fire for 3 hours. Okay, people calling each other insults. Majina big ya Kijaluo, kubwa ya Kikikuyu, and those are people who you expect to be in the literally younger generation. When I say younger generation, I'm talking of generations that anybody who is 30 or 25 years and above, below 60 or 60 and below. That is a generation that most of it actually wameitamari ile mbaya mbovu. Anybody who is within that bracket right now, most of them, in fact, 60% don't care about the tribe, but they have been shocked by this evil that Raila possesses, such that now imekuwa sasa, ukiguza hiyo imegeuzwa sasa, that now it is time for those who hated Raila to be punished. I mean, how can we be this? How can we go this low? How can we go this low? That you cannot do anything. We will make sure the shaitani itaenda kumi bila break. Those are Kenyans talking. Then you tell me there can be a change of regime, surely, that there can be a revolution, surely, that there can be an election where Ruto and Raila will be defeated, you know, that there will be a counting of votes, when elections come, surely that when now people are planning to gawanya viti and everything is unconstitutional, the bloody stupid NADCO nonsense of a piece of paper is a piece of HIT that it's being discussed and it's holding Kenya at Kenya it's a standstill discussing and waiting to hear Kenya being united, Kenya kuunganishwa. In fact, this is the vocabulary now that is trending. Kenya inaunganishwa kwa sababu Mjaluo na Mkale wamekuja kugawana viti. That now is uniting Kenya. How stupid can Kenyans be? Surely. And it has become a debate. So I don't see with that level of reasoning, Bananjiro and those who are listening, the revolutions don't come with such kind of minds. Revolutions zinakujanga na akili ingine iko rational kidogo, akili ambayo inaangalia kwa mfano mauaji yale yameendelea, mahospitali, watoto hawako shule, mtu ambaye anaona hiyo aoni Raila na aoni Ruto na aoni individuals, mtu anaona wananchi going and perishing, wananchi perishing, maisha yao kuisha. Yeah, and these people who are talking about itaenda bila break, they are paupers. They are ni akina Omosh, akina Gaucho, I mean, Kenyans are listening to idiots, and you expect to have a revolution. Naona hiyo ni dream. It's a dream. This country is just gone. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's a naive country. We are very naive. Waoga sana mno. Waoga tu. In fact, hakuna Mkenya ni mtu wa kuchinja tu vizuri akiwa amenyamaza, unamgeuza, unamfanya vile unataka. Asanteni. Njiro anaonekana ametoka kidogo. I don't know who was next. Anybody can come in.
Hi PK, good to see you. Long time.
Yeah, long time Julia. Good to see you and everyone else.
At watu huko wanaongelelea I saw is it anaitwa jaji UMP wa wapi wa this talkative MP from ODM.
Karuma.
No, huyu mwenye anakanga Muislamu lakini amechaguliwa Nyanza.
Junet. That's an idiot of a person.
Junet is very stupid. Junet can discuss a motion how the Ninyoro should be punished for developing his constituency.
Junet is mentally retarded.
And how they should interrogate where Junet Mohammed has been getting money and they don't have the money. And then they cannot even take him to a court of law for stealing this. And then today a case came out that Junet has a case with the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission for how he's used CDF money. So the pain, listen, this ODM should just listen. Anybody, a member of ODM, should just know they have had idiots for their leaders. Let me say this. Now, if the leaders you have in your community cannot even build one school, cannot use the money,
even a toilet in a school,
yes. And you think that is heroism, and then you waste the rest of you waste a whole century telling the community have been marginalized. You know, I listened to Junet reasoning. Nikasema, who ni ushenzi na aina gani? You know, personally, Dinyoro is not my hero because he has worked for the government that has messed Kenyans. So he's not my hero for anything. I don't think he was doing the people of Kiharo a favor by what he was doing. He was just fulfilling his constitutional mandate to do what he has done. He was not doing them a favor in any way. Hakuna favor aliwafanyia. Lakini sasa ati Junet, ati there is a discussion in parliament. Ati bona mtu mwingine amejenga mashine tujajenga. That tells you now, you people let us analyze penye mmetoka, those who are listening to me. Look at your leaders. What do they waste time talking about? Yani, that was, then Jeanette, the discussions in parliament,
The man.
PK, there's a lot of noise near you. The discussions in parliament, PK is a punish some certain community and kick them out of parliamentary seats at sasa ati wamefukuzwa, at sasa wakiwa wameumia. Kwani mimi nilikuwa kwa bunge? Did you hear that Julia was in parliament, that says that now I was removed and now I'm crying? And those who were in parliament, were they paying school fee for my children anyway? So that is a very stupid discussion that is going on in parliament. And I think Kenyans should not buy to that. And unfortunately, some Kenyans are buying into that. Akina Gauchos, and people are listening to Gauchos, some illiterates, you know, so listening to some illiterates. Gaucho is some illiterate somewhere talking nonsense. However, way forward. Now, if we shun all that mediocre reasoning from politicians from both political divides, ati mtu yetu, mtu yangu, my shareholder, our shareholder, we are shareholders, or our shares, and think, tukumbuke kwamba shida yetu ni moja tu, ni Kasongo, period. Hiyo ndio shida yetu. Shida yetu si nani ataongoza some certain parliamentary seat, ati ndio hawa wasiongoze. In fact, Halwale asked a question in Senate. At now we are fighting here, passing some illegal laws to punish some community. Did you hear Halwale asking that, PK?
Yeah, yes, I heard.
Yeah, and
I heard.
it was up in us. At your mate could discuss nonsense to punish some community.
You know, Gadwala is not, you know, we have some people who are not fools. I actually don't know how people like Garwale walianza kuingia kwa UDA. I've never known, sijawahi pata hiyo picha. Because you see, ujinga ya UDA, ujinga ya all those who followed UDA, I think most of them walikuwa wanaenda wana madeni, wako broke, they were going to try and steal with the mwizi. Because walijua mwizi hata ulizwa, hakuna mahali Ruto atapelekwa. And here I agree with Eli. Hakuna nani anaweza funga watu Kenya? Hakuna. No, it is hard. Kenya tu ni ile isambaratike. Honestly, I know when we say that people feel nini. Kenya ikuje, watu wakuje, ama mtu tu akuje, katambe watu watoe hiyo hate, watu wafanye vile watafanyana kama Somali, kama hata itachukua 50 years to, because now what is it we are calling Kenya, Julia, and those who are listening? What is it we are calling Kenya? Sincerely, we are lying to ourselves. We are lying to ourselves. You are calling a country Kenya, a country that is chaos. Watu wanalia, watu wanashikwa, watu wananyongwa, watu wanakufa, innocent people. Yani Kenya saa hii you are guaranteed to die if you are going to any public hospital. You are just going to die. Is that a country? You know, so nikisikia watu wakisema Kenya inaunganishwa, and hata even nasikia elites, wacha niwaita elites kama hao watu tunakuanga nao huku kwa mitandao, ndio wanaitwa wasomi ati you know Kenya it's a peaceful country. Kenya, is it? Surely, and I think some of these people have not even hawajaenda nchi zingine. You know, we are better off than Tanzania. In Tanzania there is no freedom, sijui of XYZ, sijui nini. Saa hii enda umeshe happiness saa hii ya watu. Hata just chukua tu gari, uchukua hizi mashato zinatoka Nairobi, utoke hapo fike na Manga hapo, uruke uende Arusha tu for 2 nights, alafu utoke ukiwa Arusha uende kwa restaurant asubuhi, utoke hapo kama wewe ni mtu wa kupiga kanywaji kidogo kama mnyweso, uende kwa club, then you see watu ambao wako na furaha. Uende kwa hizi wanaita Tanzania wanaziita hizi off license, Kenya zilikuwa zinaitanga off license, huko wanaitanga grocery. Uende kwa grocery zao ni hapo tu kwa mtaani, wanauza kila kitu lakini plus pombe. You know? Ukae hapo ndio usikie sasa watu wa hali ya chini, juu huko ndio utapata watu kabisa. Usikie vile wanabonga. Na wale wanabonga wakisema sulubu ni mbaya ama nini ni waizi. ni wale wamekaziwa wanasiasa, but mwananchi wa kawaida utasikia akikwambia sijui ati Tanzania sasa mambo imekuwa magumu. Hapana. Kenya sasa ni mwananchi analia, while politicians wana enjoy. Mpaka mna dance jina, unaita mtu Kasongo ana dance mocking you Kenyan. Ati mnamuita Kasongo, haya ndio huyo. Hata ndiye anachezewa akizunguka. Seriously, mnamuita Machapo. Haya ndio huyo. Hata ataanza kuja akikula, nimeona amevalishwa mazuti za Machapo. Yaani what kind of mockery is this? What kind of mockery? Yeah.
Alikuwa anapeana chapos just to mock us.
Yeah. So I mean it is so bitter. It is, I mean, you know, I'm telling you, sijui kama ushawahi kunyanyaswa na mtu hauna uwezo ya kumdeal na yeye. I don't know how many of you have ever been in such a situation. Yaani mtu anakunyanyasa kabisa. Yeah?
Ukifika hapo, that is why people do the unthinkable. I can compare
exactly
to ukifungia hivi utaya cat to
yes.
Uwemweke kwa ngunia, ujaribu kumweka kwa ngunia atafanya. That is when people do the unthinkable.
Exactly. Julia sahi, let me tell you the truth. You know the way hata wa Kristo kumotivate mtu. You know? You tell me for 5 years now, ama 4 years, wale watu walimaliza uni 2022, I think so. Wale walimaliza uni 2022 siku za election. Hawajaenda kole sasa. Alafu na hiyo sasa sorry.
They have not gone to college. They have not.
They have not. Alafu unajua wengine wengi kutoka kwa family hizi za tuseme tu za chini. I hate using the word maskini, but it's true. Ni umaskini because kama nimesoma all the way na mzazi wangu anisomeshe, ameuza mpaka shamba na kila kitu, by the time namaliza my 4th year, ile kitu imebaki tu ni nyumba yetu ya matope. Nyumba yetu ya matope na kuku mbili. Na maadhe ama dadi naye na maadhe wamezeeka sasa, wanachika mkongojo. Sasa walikuwa wana hope mimi by the time namaliza nitaenda job nini, and then as I build my life I will also now try to take care of nini, because that's how it is in Africa. In Africa hakuna hizi ma insurance. Exactly. Sasa
we live for our children, they live for us.
Exactly. And nobody should condemn that. Unaanza kutuletea ujinga hizi za nini za West. Hizi za West ni nzuri because their countries take care of the money. So zetu zimeibiwa na hawa wakora. In fact that's why me anybody akipigwa risasi ya kichwa Julia, I'll celebrate honestly. Nikisikia saa hii akina Ruto wamepigwa marisasi huko ama yani I will not even, hata hiyo siku sitaki kusema vile nitafanya, lakini do you know I will not feel a thing at all. Ati morning, ati ati oh my God, no, there will be no because that is how bad it is. Unajua afadhali mtu akunyanyase silently, ako huko amejifungia, anakaranga manyama zake nini, si ati anakaranga alafu anakuja hapa kwa veranda anaanza kukula akiwa amelala na anapiga nini, na wewe uko hapo hivyo na njaa inakunini. No, because that is what is happening. You talk about it and atokelezea. Saa hii tunaongea juu ya pesa zile zinaenda every day. Nilisikia anatumia over 200 million. Hiyo kuzunguka hiyo. Yes.
Now you understand why people are killing. Unaona kubira kumekuwa na chaos in his motorcade. People is followed with robbery, mugging and all that.
Yeah.
Because people are expecting money from him. Sasa wanaenda wakinyang'anyana. And imagine nobody has said anything about that. Imagine nobody is doing anything. Imagine his entourage is coupled with thuggery, mugging and all that, and to add insult injury, leo akaua mtu. Na kuna chenye serikali imesema leo hata kidogo.
Sasa na sasa, for example, that by itself, what does it tell us? What does it say? Now today, broad daylight, watu wanafanya hivyo ni akina nani na ni kwa nini? That should give people the answer. Whatever mtu anataka kusema, there is the bitterness and the anger. Okay, so and you know watu wale watu weak, when they are mad and all this, they'll turn to the nearest. Sasa siwezi fikia Ruto na hiyo rungu, nitagonga innocent person hapa, huyu amefungua ka kiosk. All right,
that is what happened today. They stormed into uliona ile story, sijui alienda kwa shule gani, watu wakastorm, polisi wakajaribu kuwazuia, watu wakavunja gate. Unaona hiyo hasira?
Yes.
So that's what I'm telling you. An angry man is a hungry man is an angry man. Hapo ndio Kenya imefika.
Yeah, so I think na unaona ule jamaa ule mtu alijimwagilia nini akachomeka pale ni kwa koti pale.
Sasa huyo hata angefanya hivyo, angetafuta kitu aende kwa hiyo motorcade. Kwa nini hakutusaidia kama alikuwa ameamua?
Sasa kama huyo huyo sasa angetafuta msaada, angepewa msaada, afungwe mishipi fulani, golden belt. Unaona? Ma golden belt atusaidie.
Sasa anaenda to cause himself pain at the court. What is wrong with him?
Ange consult. Niliona nikaa si mtu niliona ni mtu anaelewa. Ange consult widely. Angenunuliwa belt za gold nini, alafu aende akiwa very smart. Na huko hata angels wangemfurahia sana kwa ile kazi angekuwa amemalizia duniani.
But wacha nikwambie sasa, unaona mimi PK tell me about that thing. Ati Ruto anafuata na majambazi na the government has not said anything about it. And that this has happened 3 days now, 3 times. Siku ya kwanza nilifikiria is a mistake, it won't happen again. It has happened again and again. Mara 3 majambazi wamefuata hiyo motorcade wakinyang'anya watu vitu. Hata sasa watu wameambiwa the next day sijui anaenda wapi, mfunge duka. Hebu sikiza sasa hizo story.
Hadi sasa imagine president anakuja, unaambiwa mfunge duka. Look at that now. Unaona hiyo sasa, si ndio nakwambia Kenya tutapata vitu zingine, yani our scenario will be ya kuandikwa kwa history. We will set, because we are a country of breaking record. Hii tutabreak hii record. What is gonna happen, it will be funny. It is very interesting. Yeah, because how you have just said it. Fungeni maduka, president anakuja bana. Maduka zifungwe.
Ati ngoja muone, mtanyang'anywa pesa.
Mtanyang'anywa pesa. Kwa hivyo hii watu labda ni watu wake bwana.
Mimi nafikiri ni watu wake. What would you say if you are the businessman? What would you conclude?
Na hawa businessman wengi ni kutoka hapi.
Unaona?
Ni mlima.
Hata wacha nikwambie PK, si hata mwenye wako kwa jia unaganyanywa kiatu, simu. As long as ni motorcade ya president inapita.
Inapita ikifagilia. Yaani inafagilia kufagilia. Oh my God.
Kofia, viatu.
Yani just causing mayhem.
Motorcade is causing mayhem. Then they went up to some primary school somewhere. The mayhem arrived there. The police wakaamua si kila mtu anaingia. Mayhem ikaingia na gate.
Sasa then how is it his people?
I don't know PK. What is the answer to that?
Ama hiyo ndio revolution ya Kenya.
Uko na hiyo Citizen was honorizing it nicely for the last 2 days. Then Citizen ilikuwa inasema came day 2.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Day 3 watu wakaingia na gate ya shule.
Oh my God. Oh
na
my God.
anything. And on top of that, the motorcade did a hit and run and kill. And nobody, imagine, nani PK. Hebu imagine hizo gonga mtu, zikaacha mwili kwa barabara, na hakuna gari lisimama kuchukua huyo mtu.
Hizo za rais.
Huko na hiyo story aligonga mtu akaua.
Leo sijaona hizo nini, nimekuwa busy sana.
Killed a person, hit and run.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That matter, hata akuwa Mwafrika.
Alikuwa a foreigner.
Alafu wacha nikwambie, unaona hizi picha zote Citizen 9 TV wamechukua si zao. Kwa za social media, hata unaona ni ya simu. Imagine this KTN, this mainstream wamewachwa nyuma kabisa sana, social media wamewachwa nyuma.
Walipewa warning, they will be closed down. Waliambiwa na Ruto thubutu. They can't say nothing.
So they are using video pictures from simu. Si unaona video ya simu vile inaonekana ni ya simu.
Yeah.
Media.
Na pia hiyo watafuatwa, wataambiwa they are not supposed to show anything. Actually the media iko supposed kunyamaza, hiyo inatangaza tu safari. Mtukufu rais leo ako Kikomba. Amekutana na wananchi, amewapromise mashini ya kutoa chapati 1,000,000 kwa siku. Makofi.
So let's was analyzing the mayhem. You going to say my day 3. So who are these causing the mayhem, PK? Ukianalyze hiyo kitu ama ni watu wa Gachagua? Na Gachagua aseme namuonea. Acha nione vile watu wanasema kwa comment section. The guy who was killed, yes, Esther Kabir, yes, the guy who was killed was a French national. Yeah, the guy who was killed by the presidential motorcade was a French national. What a shame. Pike umenyamaza ama umetupwa nje? Pike ametupwa nje. Pen, unasemaje na Ashley? Ama Jiru anataka kufunga. Jiru unataka kufunga, Jiru mko area? Ashley, Pen, Jiru. I guess watu wametoka kwa show. I guess Jiru kuja ufunge show kama uko area. Naona Pike ametupwa nje. Let me appreciate those who are in comment section. Gypsy Corner, Asante, Yosef, asante sana. Nilikuwa nimeona akina Dani Dairas. Sami Costa, Jiru alikuwa nauliza about you earlier, ati kama uko kwa group ingine hapo. Sijui alikuwa nakuuliza kwa nini. Mary Wainana, kwa nini hujaingia show leo? Asanteni sana. Jiru kuja ufunge show, watu wameenda kulala, hata mimi naenda kulala. I hope you are somewhere. Pen Ginyagaka na Ashiri mko na la kusema, tukigojea Njiru akuje afungashe. Watu wa comment section mnaweza sema naona John Dinda, asanti. Gypsy Corner anasema ni keep talking. Father Danny Dairas, I'm talking. Lakini sioni watu. Q, ulienda wapi? Ulikataa kuja show? Ati Dan, are you hearing confessions? What confessions yourself? Nani alifanya hizo vituko leo kwa nini? Who is doing all that drama? Kwa nini? Kwa presidential motorcade. Some people are robbing. Can you, those in the comment section, can you try and tell me what you think? Who is doing the mugging, the robbery? Presidential motorcade inafuatwa na thieves. PK atufungi ni vile hakuna watu. Sasa mimi najiongelesha. John Dida hata mimi sijaona leo. Mnijibu akina Joe Dinda, PK, Gypsy Corner, Yusuf, Father Danny Dairas. Mniambie na Q. Na who is doing the mugging in the presidential motorcade? That thing imefanyika mara tatu sasa. Why is the mugging? What people are being robbed, stuff, phones, viatu. Sijui ni leo ama ni jana niliona people stormed into a school where Kasongo alikuwa aende aongee. They forced the gate open, they overcame the police. Na hiyo ilikuwa a presidential function. So who is doing that? Muniambie ni hiyo team ni ya Kasongo ama ni majambazi wanafuata Kasongo? Anybody who has any views from the comment section, I'll read your views. Nagojea maoni yenyu wenye wako kwa comment section. Hi Joe Dinda, Sammy Costa, Q, Father Danny Dairas, Yosef, PK, Gypsy Corner. Who is doing the mugging? Who is stealing people's stuff kwa hiyo presidential? Ama Kasongo ame hire thugs? Ama ni ile pesa anapeana sasa inafuatwa na majambazi? Ni kama kuna pesa inapewanwa, so they are going after the money, or what is happening? What is cooking? Anybody who knows what is happening? Those are Kasongo's. Yosef anasema those are Kasongo's anti-Gen Z team. Ni kama wenye walikuwa, unakumbuka stories that they wanted the chapatis. Esther Kabiro, they wanted the chapatis. He was distributing to the school children. Wenye waliingia kwa gate, watu wako na njaa. Nimeunderstand. Wenye walivunja gate, walikuwa naendea chapati. Yani Kasongo seriously took chapatis to school. Yupi nyinyi watu? Mnasikia Kasongo wako na wazimu. Anatakana kuwa na daktari ama ni nini? Hi,
Julia.
Yes.
You're raising, actually, I was keeping quiet because I had fallen asleep. I didn't even know what was being discussed, but you're raising a very good topic. Because imagine it's a weekday, it's been a weekday, and as a president, I think he should go back home and become very worried and very disturbed that he has so many people out there. Watu wote hawana kazi. Because in other places, in other countries, when they're having these rallies, they hold them on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Working on a weekday, they will not be successful because most people are busy, either going to school or, like looking for a means. They are busy working. But each day, hivyo anakuwa na watu wengi, I think he's not very smart. Because in normal circumstances, he should even let the people look few. For people to look that many on a weekday, a whole week, Amanda, Nairobi, the center, that means, kwanza in the city, there should be more people working, not more people idle. So even vile unauliza, what are they doing? Like, imagine all those people hawana job. Like, what do you expect?
Imagine
anafuatwa na eyeglass.
Nimeamini hiyo story wenye waliingia kwa shule kuvunja shule. It is because ati Kasongo anaenda kupeana chapati. Yani niambieni nyinyi watu mnaona hiyo kitu aje? Ati president ametoka kwa ofisi ameenda kupatiana chapati. Is he normal?
Imagine I wish ingekuwa tu one day. Amefanya hivyo the whole week. Alafu anaenda kupatia na chapati, anafikiri ati yani ni siku gani anakaanga kwa ofisi, anafikiri to think how he's going to improve the country. When does he stop? When does he go come up with, you know, like Julia vile unaenda unakaa unaona what my plan for tomorrow ya watoto, what am I going to teach them tomorrow? Yeye anakaa gani, ana come up with how do I fix this? Kama kuna watoto wana fail kwa class, what am I going to do to make sure that they get this, or why are they failing? Awezi enda ajiulize, why are all these people on the streets? Why are all these people not employed? Why are all these people here? Kwake anaona ati ni success watu wakikuwa wengi on a weekday, na mashule zijafungwa, mabusiness zijafungwa. Imagine watu wazima over 18 ati wanavunja gate kukula chapati, like lunacy of the highest order.
Anapanga program yake ilikuwa kwenda kupeana chapati. Somebody sat and made that program for the president, na wakakubaliana hiyo ilikuwa agenda poa. Can you believe that? Hata Kenya kuna wazimu tu mwingi tu.
Yeah, ni kama ameenda Wajia pale kuna drought, kuna starvation. Na hiyo ni capital city. Kama watu wanavunja gate ina capital city, na akienda huko Ushago kule hakuna majobs, kuna pesa, watu watafanya nini? Kama wanavunja gate ina like that should be a worrying, something to worry him.
This guy is crazy, I'm telling you. Hata sikufuata hiyo mwenye amenipatia hiyo sasa ni Esther Kabira, ati ukweli alienda ati watu walienda kunini kuvuja gate juu ya chapati. Sasa Kasongo, yani Kasongo alikuwa ameenda kupeana chapati, but then it is because the Gen Z mocked Kasongo. And now that he was mocked, now he went to give out chapati. Is he an idiot? Yani this guy, ukweli mimi naambia tuko na history kwamba siku moja tulikuwa na rais mjinga. Yani tukaika kwa history hiyo. Yani alikuwa anaenda anafanya function ya kupeana chapati. Function 1 ya kupeana chapati. Hata moja
unajua vile ananyororania na watoto, you know, because they say no, he can't do it, now he's going to do it. Kwa nini Saila wanasema kwa nini hajafix SHA? Juu watu wanasema hajafix SHA. Kwa nini anapatia the easy things that don't even make sense? Wakikula leo kesho watakula nini? Hii kitu ya SHA watu wana complain every day, kwa nini asifanye hiyo? Unajua hata juzi vile alienda nini, because he was going to this, he went to a church and gave money, and then people saying, why is he not giving to colleges? Have you noticed lately amekuwa akisema atajenga madarasa? Have you noticed that in the last 1 week?
Yani ana compete na watoto, ati sasa alikuwa ana compete na watoto awashini hizo mmenita el chapo naenda kuchepa pata na chapati. Yani and then he played skiza, then he played the Kasongo song, ati mnanita Kasongo, them dancing the Kasongo. I'm telling you, jamaa aki kweli sijui. I mean his doctor needs to see him, I'm telling you.
That is the how, yani alafu tunasema ati hakuna mtu anaweza mpinga. Yani that is the best Kenya can produce, and watu wanasemanga he's a master politician. Huyo
and is an embarrassment. Oh my God.
I mean, imagine like someone should say, I am so worried all these people don't have jobs. You know, like when Obama won in 2008 after the economic crisis, what he did, he got a whole akaita all the big people, economic people, akaweka kwa round table. So what people are seeing on TV is people in a round table discussing how are they going to get them out from the economic crisis. And they didn't just show for PR. You see, he was able to get the US out of the economic crisis. Na akaweka hizi nini za these things to help the country never to go back there, even though some of them have been taken away or are being challenged, but he was able to do that. And a Kasongo going round is good if he will go then and sit down and decide, I have a concern that we have so many idle people in town that naenda kuzurura. Imagine kama wewe ni mtiche vile uko mtiche, ukuwe mtiche, unajua kama shule tulikuwa tunakuanga boarding school, mkiona mkizurura when you should be in class. you get in trouble. Even
Ama
Ruto
town yenyu
going
patwa
round,
you pata school
yeah,
kwa market during the day. That one is usually a big deal, isn't it?
yes, ama kama sahi mko suppose kukua class mkifanya studies, alafu mko na huko kwa dorm, ama mko kwa playfield, that should be a concern. Even Ruto going round, it should actually be that anafind watu less. The fact that he has a lot of people shows that he has failed as a president, because it shows that his country is not at work. Most of his workforce or people who have energy are on the streets. So what do you expect? What we are seeing is actually what we expect. They are idle, they are broke. So what do we expect? Crime and theft is high. Hungry people on the street, alafu anaenda anapika chapati ya siku moja, kesho watakula nini? Sasa anapikia students na wale wako huko nje pia hawako hungry. So shouldn't he be sitting down to devise a policy that will make sure that people, his citizens, have something to eat? They can go to work and get money to feed their children, to feed themselves, that they are not out in the streets on a weekday.
It is very sad. It is very sad ati Kasongo. Yani hata siku anajua hiyo story ilikuwa ina add. Unajua mi Ashley sikufuata. Nisikia I just saw on TV the cities that people stormed into a school, wakangoa gate, people were robbing. Yani I'm trying to add what is happening. Kumbe Kasongo mwenyewe anaenda kupeana chapati. And then I think actually this mugging and that, it is because he's working with money dishing. That is what I tend to think.
Mi sijasikia hata hiyo ya chapo, nimesikia na wewe. But I watched.
Did you see? Watch Citizen? One time in a school where Kasongo was going, people came in na wakatoa gate. Police wakafungia.
No. Sijaangalia. Imagine I haven't been watching him. I get so angry hearing him speak, and I know he's lying. I pass those things. Sasa nikisikia watu wakicomplain talking about it so much, that's when I go back to watch.
People came, wakafungiwa nje. Wakasukuma polisi, wakaingia na gate.
Hungry people are dangerous. I wish, now watu ni wajinga. I wish that is how they react to what is going on. Sasa ni mtu tujinga, tunafikiria vile tu tunaweza pewa food. That I wish they had that energy wailete kwa revolution.
Nakwambia, I wish hiyo energy. By the way, lakini nasikia hiyo kitu ita adapt to a revolution. Unaona everywhere people are everywhere now idling, doing nothing. Hiyo kitu itaenda kuwa mbaya, nakwambia. And Kasongo alikaa jana kwa program yake ilikuwa go give chapatis. Somebody wrote down and documented one of the things I should have given this number of chapatis.
Let me ask you this. People are talking about, I don't know whether you guys have talked about the 20 million, and people are like, so what if he gave 20 million? And some people are like, we shouldn't, if he wants to give, he can give. But the issue is not that he did give the 20 million. The issue is, was it 20 million from his pocket or 20 million from the taxpayers? And if it was from his pocket, ni pesa gani hizi yuko nazo, because he's constantly giving this money. And at what point is it his money? And at what point is it taxpayers? Because amekuwa akienda around akisema, I'll give you this money. At what point is it coming from his pocket, and when does it come from him? And I think we need to hold him accountable. But at what, should we go to court? Should we go to parliament? Ndio aulizwe hizi pesa anatoa wapi, hizi anapatiana. Na si yeye alisema kanisa wasirudi kupewa pesa, kwa nini tena ameanza kupatiana hizo pesa? Now, Julie, tell me, should we go to court and say that alisema watu waache kupatiana pesa kwa kanisa na ameanza tena na inaleta disunity in the country, or what should we do?
People have already gone to court over that money. Hata wameanza yule pastor arudishe hiyo pesa. Bi waliuliza Kasongo only answer 1 million and something. 20 million ametoa wapi? Kwani akuli kwake? So people have analyzed that thing and have analyzed that thing. Lakini Kasongo mwenyewe ako tu na shida. I mean something should just happen. May God hear our prayers. Tumechoka na hiyo drama yote. Do you remember, you people in the days of Mwai Kibaki, did you ever see him on the streets and people complain? And then he asked him, they wanted to see him doing what? Aliuliza, what do you want to see me do in the streets? Doing what? Mnataka munione nikifanya nini? Imagine Kasongo. Hey. And on top of that, they killed somebody today. Uliona hiyo story, Ashley?
Yes, nimeona, well, inasemekana, imagine, na si mara ya first, even in 2017, hiyo ni motorcade ya Uhuru pia iliua mtu, and these people never become accountable, but that time it was a Kenyan, but this time it's a mzungu. What is going to happen? Watacompensate huyo mzungu na pesa mingi sana na itakuwa ya government. Now that's the problem. Na hizo pesa si angechukua tu aziweke kwa feeding program.
So imekonfirmiwa ni mzungu wa wapi?
French. He's a French.
A man or a woman?
A man.
But earlier I had heard he's a Turkish.
What does mean? He's a French. Whatever. Whether ni mzungu ama Mkenya, that was wrong. That is impunity of the highest order.
Now, how comes your story is it in the media?
Yes, Citizen. NTV wameanalyze chaos za Kasongo since aanze hii tour. Wamesema ime climax with killing somebody today.
And he cannot even address that situation.
Some policeman was saying, imagine some policeman spokesman in Nairobi was saying that we are investigating that situation. Anybody with more information to give us. Nonsense. The man was killed by the presidential motorcade. What other information do they want? Hey, Kenya tutakiona.
Hii nchi yetu ni aje? Yaani siku hizi life ya binadamu ni kama kuku. Life ya binadamu ni kama kuku.
Mi naona huku Kenya, I don't know how many people are spiritual. Kutoka Ruto aingie, hivyo imekuwa increase. Yani evil things, yani watu kuuliwa ni kama kuku, ni kama inzi, na watu wamekuwa desensitized to where people don't seem to feel it unless ni mtu wa familia yenu. Imagine unaenda Kenyatta unakuta ati mtu ana kichwa.
Ati amechinjwa kwa.
Ati na hakuna mtu anajua ni nani amemchinja.
Na kuna cameras in the ward. Lakini this thing will escalate, let me tell you. Simeona polisi wamna complain openly in public. Nimeona NTV was saying that the police, as you KTN, threatened a go slow. Wacha hiyo go slow. Hao polisi walikuwa nafikiria wao ndio wanaishi mbinguni, wanakujanga Kenya asubuhi. Sasa hivi wamerealize they are going through the same SHIT kama wa Kenya. So Jiru, tumeongea, wewe ukatoroka. I think sijui kama kuna mtu akona lingine la kusema.
Okay, ni sawa. Munaweza tamatisha tufunge kituo kama hakuna watu wengine wanatry. Maybe we can give around 5 minutes. Kama hakutakuwa na new entrance tunaweza funga tu. I have no problem with it.
Just watu wa comment section ma comments sijui. Wacha nione wamenijibu aje. Let me see what they have replied. Ashley, si mapastors wako kwa bahasha. Mapastors wako kwa bahasha ya Ruto. Si unaona mwenye amepewa pesa na anatukana watu. It's a cult. Correct. Hata bisi. Yani hizo magari ni lawlessness, Yosef. You can have a Turkish, French, whatever it was. That's impunity. That driver should be sued in a court of law. Actually, and they were protected.
Unfortunately, because he was at work, it is the government that is going to be sued. So the government of Kenya has to pay him. That means less money for the citizen.
Kwa hivyo huyo mtu alikuwa kazi?
Si gari ya president iligonga huyu mtu.
No, I understand, but the person was like aligongewa kwa highway ama what happened?
Kwa highway.
What?
You know if you kill somebody on the highway, whether the person is, by the way, did you know pedestrians are never on the wrong? You should,
Unless they are unless in fact, even if they are crossing the road, unless but whoever it is, if you have a company car and you kill somebody, that company is the one which is going to be liable because he was the entourage of the president. That means the government of Kenya is liable.
and if you are on the city, you should drive in a speed that should stop killing somebody. See, akunanga story at the person was crossing the road while I was driving.
Imagine aligongewa kwa zebra. What is this stupidity?
Aligongewa kwa zebra crossing.
Nimeweka hapo unasema it was it at a zebra crossing spot.
No, najua wazungu nani Njiro na nani Julie, umeshaenda kwa zebra, yani huyu ni mzungu amezoea kuobey order. Kama ukienda kwa wazungu, yani hawaangaliangi nyuma, they don't care, and you're like, kwani huyu mtu, they don't care about their life, they'll go slowly. Wanafikiria even you will obey the road signs, na kama inasema ni zebra crossing, na cross tu, hata akikuona ukikam ana expect uobey the rule. And I think that is why ni mzungu aliuliwa, because alikuwa ana assume wataona ni zebra crossing and they will stop.
Imagine they just hit him and they saw he was on the road, they couldn't stop. They just hit him and killed him. Yani ni waliona kama wanakonga donkey.
Si ndio kuna mtu amesema kitu, the right thing, lawlessness. Sisi hizo vitu wanga suggestions, na ndio tunasema tukichagua president, we have to choose a president who will obey the rule of law and the constitution, because they are not suggestions. If the court gives them an order, they have to obey that order. Lakini in Kenya wanafikirianga their suggestions, na huyu mzungu ametoka pahali rules are obeyed. So he was at a zebra crossing the road. Even though he saw cars, he assumed that person knows that that's a zebra crossing and the pedestrian has the right of way. Unfortunately, alienda kwa country with no laws, and he ended up dead.
Poor man. It was a wrong idea to come to Kenya in the first place. So that's my take.
I see another pastor here saying that not all pastors are watu wa bahasha. I wish he would come to the show and tell us what kind of pastor he is, and how can we hold those that are accountable, those who do that accountable, because they are misleading their flock, because Ruto is paying them so that he can get that flock. So as a pastor, how can we prevent these characters from misleading the flock? Because we need to do that so that we don't repeat the mistakes of 2022 in 2027 if we ever get there with Ruto.
Yeah.
So niulize swali maybe as you finish now that tunasema hakuna uchaguzi, I think Julian nilisikia mkisema the other time ati niachane na 2027. Mliniambia niachane na hiyo illusion. Without going to what was being said there, can we have an orderly takeover? Is it like not takeover, but like can we have an orderly regime change, whichever the way?
No.
Ama lazima kukuwe na chaos nini? What?
Lazima kutakuwa na chaos.
Sasa, Nani, I'm sorry to interject, but I want to just say this, Njiro. I'll send back the question to you. Do you think Ruto can actually step down? Because in order for her to have something orderly, he has to agree to leave. Already watu wamesema, they voted no confidence. He knows that. And that's why he has brought Raila. Do you think he can agree to voluntarily leave? Do you?
That one is impossible, because you can see his behavior. His behavior is of a guy who doesn't care.
So then how can we have an orderly takeover if he cannot leave voluntarily?
It can be orderly if there is a majority which is detectable. Even if someone
has to pull him out. Either that or God takes him out.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of an orderly takeover. In Ethiopia, there was this Mariam. The name is wrong, but it used to be called Mariam, the former prime minister. And then there is Abiy. Do you,
Haile Mariam.
Mariam? So do you know what happened? Actually, it was an orderly takeover. Mariam was like rejected by the ruling council, and even people felt bad of him because of the chaos which were happening in the country. And actually, a deal was struck, and we just heard that Mariam has resigned, and Ethiopia is having an election, and Abiy came. So, and no one died. So it is actually possible.
That thing of yours, what you just said, contradicts what you just said, that Ruto cannot agree to leave. So they cannot be orderly because he cannot, you already said he cannot agree to leave. So if he cannot agree to leave, whatever deal is struck, he would have to be removed. The only chance, I don't want to say the only chance, the chance that we had is when when the court ruled that Azimio had the majority, what they were doing is throwing them a lifeline, and they refused to take it. If Azimio had insisted that they have the majority, and Kenya Kwanza had refused to give them, that was a very good chance kufanya hii revolution ifanye job. Unfortunately, they refused the lifeline. So hii ingine, unless Mungu atume another pathway. Na sasa hii tumeanza kukua divided, kuna wale wanasema Wakikuyu wamezoea kutumia watu, alafu na hii side ingine wanasema na sisi tutasaidia Kasongo mpaka 2027 and mpaka 20. Now that is the problem. They are suffering, but their hatred, perceived hatred for one tribe, wants to make sure that Kasongo, kwa hivyo, Ruto is going to accomplish what he wants, because one side want to punish the other. That is the stupidity of the issue. Na hii isha itakuwa ikiwaua pia hao, Jinja itakuwa ikiwaua pia hao, kama wawezi tupeleka watoto shule pia hao, but because their hatred is so much, they would rather help Kasongo, who has killed their people, so that he can continue, because they feel like they are making this other side mad. Imagine tuna sink, no nasema hii boat wacha isink, because wewe Njiro na wewe Julius iwapendi, wacha to sink, si wacha tukufe. Even though I can save, I don't want to save because I want you to die. I don't know whether that is being smart or how smart, clever, I don't even understand that. But that's what ODM is doing.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you think there is a complete support of Ruto from ODM, that Ruto has inherited the ore of ODM or can? Do you think that association will make Ruto get the whole of ODM voter block based on what is happening? Or are people going to revote that association, or people will just sink into that because of the narrative which you have just explained about revenge?
From what I'm seeing, ODM is on that side. They are saying they are going to stick with Kasongo. So, but lakini wanateseka. Lakini their hatred, wanasema wao wengine ni tribalist, lakini wale wanaita watu tribalist are even more tribal. Na on top of tribe, hao wameongeza hatred, because watu wamekataa their leader, they start saying that it is the whole tribe. Who has said it's the whole tribe? It's just Raila. But they keep saying because we don't want Raila, they are going to help Ruto, even though they are not gaining. They are going to help Ruto. Hiyo ni ujinga, but they have played themselves, and they are where Kasongo wants them to be. Na hiyo ujinga ndio itatuweka sisi zote kwa shimo. When they snap out of it, I don't know. But I hope they do so soon, so that we can get somebody else, so we can jump over. Hiyo tukiweza to get from that hurdle, Kasongo will be naked. But as long as we have those fools who are going to support him so that they can make somebody else suffer, even though themselves, they are also suffering, then we have a problem.
The only advantage, they never even vote massively. Ashley, sasa hata kama ni kura, kama huwa watokei massively for their own, watokeaje for Kasongo? I just wonder how that will work out.
You remember you said earlier, the reason of this crowds is to a perception that he's supported, so that if we do go to elections, what he's going to do, he's going to manipulate the votes, and there is no way you're going to ask him where did those votes come from.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like, we have
Manipulate.
always saying, if we go to the election, I'm telling you, if they have to turn the power off that whole day, or even turn the internet off, or abduct people, or do all of them, Kasongo will go back to be the president. And I'm telling you, even these people like Kina Ishongwa will also be re-elected. How you will complain that they have no votes, but they are re-elected. So what we need to do, we need to come up with a way to make sure they don't see that ballot. Ila nini alikuwa naitwa nini Atwoli anasema they should not be on the ballot. That's the way we win.
Okay, hiyo nimesikia. So niulize sasa, but don't you think that the actually hatred can actually mobilize Julia hii ni yako, sababu umesema that side haipigange kura sana, but don't you think that hatred can actually be a mobilization point for them if their sole reason is to vote against what they have said? That is one. Then number two, nauliza kuna historia anatembea, sijui kama umesikia anatembea akisomea watu wa the lake sana.
Nimemsikia.
So what is your take about Natembea?
Natembea is doing a good thing. Natembea is a mobilizer, another than a mobilizer. I see me like a mobilizer. So he's playing his job. Lakini hiyo ati hate kumobilize ati against this. Wacha nikwambie, the only thing I don't even want to discuss this is because we cannot have a genuine election, Njiru. Otherwise kwa election yenye iko fair, hata wajimobilize against the Kikuyus, it will have no impact. They'll be beaten pants down. I can promise them that. But now the challenge is, Njiru, Ruto is using this to create a picture that yakona support ya Imbekura. So mimi maombi yangu ni asikuwepo kwa hiyo uchaguzi. May God hear my prayers. Whatever God will do, God knows.
And I may add, even though I wasn't, you said this was for Julia, what will do, that hatred will make them not go to vote. So they won't go to vote. So what is Ruto going to do? He's going to manipulate to seem like they went to vote. So if Raila will not be on the ballot, they will not have a need to go and vote. So they will stay home.
Alafu kuna kitu ninataka kusema, and this is what I think will happen. Watu, let me tell you, Njiru, Raila doesn't play second fiddle at all. He's never done that. He'll not do that even for 2 months in this government. This will be the shortest alliance that he has ever had. No sooner have they signed an agreement than it will come down, tumbling down, because he doesn't play second fiddle. Saizi kuna malalamishi kutoka kwa wakale kwamba serikali yao inachukuliwa. Na unaona kina Junet, they are talking as if Junet is the deputy president now. Unaona mdomo ya Junet ni kama si niliwaambia I told you these supporters of Raila, something very wrong with them. Did you see the behavior they took to Ethiopia? Hata ilimharibia Addis Ababa. See the way Junet and the likes are talking in parliament. Ni kama Junet suddenly is the deputy president or something. Kama ndiye ana control the treasury. Buddy should tell Junet that he's in treasury and he has no say or control. He's just seen money walking in and out. I wish Buddy could tell them that. Awaonyeshe mimi ndio niko kwa treasury na unaona pesa ikitembea inaenda ikirudi ikitoka na sina cha kusema. He should tell them the truth. But you see the talks of Junet na kina Gaucho ni kama saizi wameshika binguni na mikono. This is the bad attitude. Let me tell you, the Kares will not take this. This alliance will come down tumbling within less than 1 year. I'm telling you, tumbling down. Ati nyinyi mnafikiria kwamba ati kina Junet wanangojea 2027 waanze kusema Ruto tosha, so that Raila becomes what at 80 something, at 85? How? They won't.
Jiro, kuna mtu anajaribu kuingia kwa show, sijui kama umemuona.
Namuona lakini kamera zake haziko sawa, so it is impossible to let her in. Anaitwa Wairimu N, but inasema device is not connected, so she has to allow the computer to
yeah, she should go to settings.
Yeah, so Wairimu, look at your settings and come back. So maybe I will kick you out ili ukuje vizuri. Nimekutoa. Kuja sasa vizuri.
You know, today I saw something, I think it was on JK Live or some other show, where some ODM guy, I'm not sure what his name was, he was saying, for them to make any change, they have to be inside government. Vile wana nini threaten Ruto, hata yeye yuko na maji kwa tumbo, by the way. They are very threatening, and they are going to be this is a very demanding wife and children.
Yeah.
Kwa hivyo atalalanga na nini, and akimess tu, wataweka hiyo
But this
impeachment.
because me and you are women, ni yule bibi anaanzanga kwa bedroom. It is either you buy me or else I walk out today. Unaona, every morning nakuanga na or else. Niambie kama wewe ni mwanaume, huyu mtu ndaishi naye for how long? If from the one is red, how? Let me tell
Actually, you remember even when they had that thing coalition party or whatever they were doing. Imagine Raila nakuja nasema ODM, wanasema tuko tayari, wako tayari kufanya nini?
Alafu wacha nikwambie kitu. Let me just tell you, even though I will sound tribal. Unaona 2002 Raila akasema Kibaki tosha, si ndio? And I think Kibaki formed the government where ni kama ukweli MOU yake hakuobey. Sometimes I blame Kibaki because it's like kusema he was an angel. But then Raila alienda kwa hiyo government na kifua. Mimi I was in Kisumu 202. Nilisikia watu wakisema this is the first time Arua is a president. 202. Haya, I'm not blaming the Luos. In fact, I don't know how to use the word Luo. It was wrong thing to do that. But let me say this. Watu akina Junet na wengine wako tu na tabia mbaya. Unaona hizo attitude zao ndio wamepelekea Kasongo kwa hiyo serikali. Tayari wameanza kumpatia conditions na hata haja announce government yake. You think the Kales will take this line down? Na kina Ishungwa. Don't even say Ishungwa has no powers nowadays. You think the Kales, because the Kales own the government, will take this line down? No. This will be the shortest alliance you ever saw. Goja utaona vita itapiganwa. And then what are the signs of times? The signs of times kwamba hata wenye walikuwa kwa hiyo gava waluya, they are feeling out. They are feeling they are feeling like wametupwa nje. Did you see the way Halwale was talking today in Senate? Alisema amwezi kutuita to discuss things just to punish one community. Those are signs of times. Did you hear that there's a letter from Mudavadi's party to withdraw from the government? In Kenya, there are no rumors. Those are signs of times. Kutakuwa na mapigano hapo kwa hiyo serikali nawaambia. Because some of these people in ODM are very disrespectful. They cannot play second fiddle. They don't know what is to be a wife or a second wife for that matter. Ukikuwa a second wife, unajuanga kuna first wife. Unatulia. Hawajui hiyo kitu. Saizi, they are going around saying, Raila will be the president. He'll be the one. Yeye atakuwa akiamua kwa serikali. Imagine wanasema na Kasongo anasikia. Kasongo, however much amesukumwa na kina Gachagua, you think he'll do that lying down? No. He'll definitely do something about it. And Kasongo can do the worst.
But I like that, you know them, they don't keep quiet. They're saying, oh, we want this position. We want this position. They are asking. And right now they have to be given. Kwa hivyo hata yeye yuko comfortable. Yani yule bibi, anaitangwaje yule bibi demanding high maintenance.
High maintenance bibi. And you see, they are doing, unaona, they are doing this to him because ati wanaona sasa wanampea support. Ati wanaona sasa at he's in there, at their mercy. Kasongo ako in their mercy. Let me ask you, all of you know who Kasongo is. Will Kasongo take this line down? Line ati aseme wacha tu chipati wanataka. Ama kutakuwa na consequence na repercussions.
Right now he has no choice. Na ndio unaona anajaribu kubefriend. He's trying to get back to the Kikuyu because he's seen if he can get back their love, then he can dispose them. Lakini the Kikuyu wamemkataa. Unafikiri kwa nini bado anarudi? Nilisikia next week. I don't know how true it is that the whole of next week he'll be in Central. Have you heard that?
Hata nimesikia ati ameapproach nani? Peter nani? Anaitwa Peter nani mwenye alikuwa kwa serikali ya Uhuru? Huyu Meru.
Peter
Muya ati amekuwa approach for cabinet secretary. Nimesikia ati Mutahi Kagwe anawekwa health. Umesikia hizo story?
Na ndio nani na yeye Kalwale amekasirika akasema hata yeye yuko na watu wao. You see now hii ni a husband with many wives. Then the wives are demanding. Si unaona hata siku ile nani Ruto alikuwa nao Raila, Mudavadi did show up. The other wife
The other two wives did not show up. Mudavadi na nani? Na weta walijipea shughuli. Ukweli unajua watu walijipea shughuli.
He has headache, you know, that's why he was like, sasa hao riot. Juu ameenda ku get a new wife. Na sasa huyu wife ata get attention. Na watoto wake wanataka kupewa mamlaka. Sasa in order ndio wapewe mamlaka, hao wengine ni lazima reduciwe. Ndio unaona sasa wanataka kuleta NADCO ndio waongeze positions juu zile ziko tight na watu wanakataa kutoka hizo positions. So now the longer, imagine already the wage bill is already tight na wanataka expand. Na yeye alisema ati hakuji create positions for leaders, anakam create positions for the youth. Hao watu huko nje ameenda akawakuta hawana jobs, yet priority yake, by the way, in the NADCO they want to put the two-third gender rule. Now hii two-third gender rule ya kuongeza women representatives na the disabled, wacha tuache disabled, but the women representatives, what is more, giving these women out their jobs, using that money to create funds that you can give loans to women to start small businesses, ama kuleta leaders into, you know, like how does he think? Which one would be more effective? Getting that money they would use to give women reps, and that women rep comes with an office and staff, ama achukue hizo pesa za women rep, aende huko nje aweke fund, you know, like the way they have a fund for women, like business women who want to start businesses, wakuwe wanaweza enda kwa hiyo kuna funding wanaweza apply. So it will help more women, small women, if there is a funding where they can go and get money to start businesses than getting women representatives, if we are talking about using the little money we have as a country.
And who do you think Kasongo cares about that? Yusuf is asking who is the high maintenance bibi, right? I think is the high maintenance bibi. Na watoto wake wanapayuka bunge wakisema wanataka hii, akina Junior wanataka hiyo, wanataka kupunish some community nonsense. So Raila is the high maintenance bibi. Na anamkula kichwa, anamwambia it is either you give me or else, or this one or else. Wacha nikwambia Kasongo amekiona. Sasa nisikie Gachagua alikuwa or else. You do this for me or else. That is what you get for working with God.
Unajua ubaya wa Gachagua, wanaenda kunini kumthreaten kwa bedroom, alafu akitoka nje ni kama huyu wa anaitwa nini Karago. Sasa anakuja kusema bibi yake alikuwa anapewa 20,000 anasema in 2 days zimeisha. But the good thing, Raila is very skilled. Ana make demands in public. Hata kama tule tu pesa zake alilipwa in private, hizo pesa maybe amepewa trillion ngapi in private, sijui nasikia alipewa about 458 something, almost half 458,100,000 billion, almost a trillion, but I don't know how true it is. Hizo alipewa in private, lakini sasa wakishaingia deal, sasa anaanza ku make demands in public. Na belittle Ruto in public, but Ruto has no option right now. He has to go with the flow, unless Wakikuyu warudi kwa box.
Wakikuyu hawezi rudi kwa box, pengine akina Gachagua warudi peke yao. Wakikuyu ameenda, ako kameenda kabisa.
But you know, he was trying to go back through the TikTok, you know, Gen Z. So he got this lady called Lady J. I think alikuwa amempaka akuje ndio ati akuja ongeleshe those people there, na hiyo ndio ilileta hiyo fight kwa TikTok, because wakagundua kuna nini kamchezo kanataka kufanywa, because most of those ones they are Kikuyus and they are Gen Z. So he wanted to infiltrate that way. Lakini hiyo for now, I don't know whether it's going to work, but he is really trying to get them back. Na ndio unaona hata alikuwa anaenda ile church kupatiana hizo pesa na akasema atapatiana more 100,000. He is hot in pursuit because he has realized demands za Wakikuyu si kama za hao wengine.
nakwambia Wakikuyu wamemsinya nakwambia ako kameenda. Sasa hiyo story yani nakwambia my take is Njiru. If you want to wind up, let me wind up now for you naenda kulala. Hii alliance, hii door, this marriage is dying no soon as it has started. Let me say this. We've been so mad with Raila Odinga's this move at ameenda serikali. Lakini mimi naona kama hii move itasaidia Kenya because I think it will leave Ruto in pieces. Mimi naona hivyo. Kasongo atawachwa in pieces. Hiyo ndio naona. Na kama Raila ataachieve hiyo, we'll remember him for doing that also. Why not?
Aende amaliza kabisa like akue like aende agonge hiyo shell ya snail. Anaenda
unaona Raila, nimekwambia Raila doesn't play second fiddle. He doesn't play that like atuniambiange kitu. That is his character. He doesn't go there ati kuambiwa vitu. He won't.
Unaona kama sasa yeye anasema ati akuenda kwa Ruto ndio alikuja kwake.
Ati jamaa alitafuta mimi, anasema in public. Ati jamaa alikuwa ameisha. That is funny.
So Julia, in other words, unataka kusema Raila anaweza taka kumaliza Ruto kabisa. Is that what you mean? Akitaka
kumaliza, si atanataka tamaliza.
See what they are doing, they are upping so that he can give them more. So ndio wanasema hizi vitu ndio wakienda kuitisha vitu unajua nikumweka baridi. Tumesema high maintenance. Sasa hizi vitu wanasema wakienda kwa table Ruto hawezi, he has no negotiating power. He has to give what is being requested ndio wapoe, na watapoa for a while. After hizi CS positions zimepatiwanwa utaona watapoa for a while and then they'll start again and demand more.
Wataanza kusema, unasikia stories za Didi Nyoro, wataanza kusema Didi Nyoro alipewa pesa hata wapewe pesa. So
hii high demand mnasema ni noma aje?
Ni noma sana. High maintenance wife. Huyu Raila Odinga. Unaona hii harusi yao na Raila na kinani hakuatenda, kinaweta na Mudavadi. Walikuwa wamesalk.
It looks like Njiru hajaisikia about her maintenance.
Njiru, uelewi hiyo language.
I don't know about high maintenance. Hebu mniambie ni aje? High maintenance ni gani, like ni rajewa gani hao?
Kwani hujua, what do you mean Raila? What do you not get in our language? We are saying Raila is a high maintenance wife. Wapili, watatu, ama waine.
Mimi ni wale ambao wanafikirianga bibi anakula kile mzee ako nayo. Si ati anakula anything beyond. Kwani kuna bibi anakuja anakula hata ile mzee atatafuta 2030.
Tafuta mwingine utakiona wewe, ndio uja understand.
So in other words, mnataka kusema Raila is there and he is still
anafanyanga, unaenda unaomba loan because ni lazima umnunulie kama unayo ama hauna, kama una job ama una, kuna ile lifestyle amezoea na ni lazima umaintain ama aende.
Na nakwambianga kwa living room watoto wakisikia aidha ufanye hii ama anaenda. Hiyo ndio Raila anafanya.
Yani mnataka tu kusema tu Raila, in other words, ni kama mnasema sasa Raila is just ako ni ana tofauti na model. Is like unajua kama mademu wanaitanga model hao.
Ni slay queen. You are using the wrong word.
Oh, slay queen. Yani yeye tu anaslayia Ruto tu. Kazi yake tu ni kugongwa.
Ni slay queen.
Yeye anafanya catwalk.
Hey.
Unajua bila have you seen a cat walking? Hivyo ndio nani anamfanya. Anasema ngwe ni kugware.
Alafu anatoka nje anasema huyu jamaa nitafuta, alikuwa analia. Imagine imagine ukiwa bibi yako anakuwa kuambia in public hata sikumtaka ni alikuwa ananitafuta.
And is it true? Could it be true? Do you think Raila is sincere on those allegations ni kutafutwa alitafutwa? Ama ni kitu amekubaliana na Ruto wewe useme hivyo?
Ruto hajakana.
How
does it look on Ruto Raila akisema hivyo? It looks bad. Na si hiyo, hata leo si nilikwambia, nilisikia mwingine huko kwa ODM akisema sasa mkituambia mnataka change, how can we change when we are outside? We need power in order to change. Imagine kama wewe ndio unawapatia power alafu wanaweza kusema wanataka kuingia because they will be able to work more better wakikuwa ndani. Si ni kama ukikuwa na bacteria ndani inakumaliza zaidi kuliko ukikuwa nje. So even you as the person like Ruto, he has to be worried about what they are saying.
Huoni akina Raila, akina Sundi wamekuja mikia, hata wameanza kusema ati Raila ndiye aliwaambia watoe Gachagua. Why do you think Sundi is making such allegations from nowhere?
Medhoka kabisa.
Have you heard Sudi in the recent past? Anybody who has heard Sudi in the recent past? No, Sudi amekuja mkia. Amekuja mkia na kina Junet. The things can never be sweeter. Things boiling nicely. So my overall conclusion, this whole Raila Odinga Ruto marriage is good for Kenya. It will bring things will fall apart faster than we expected.
And I'm going to end by saying, I hope you're right, because if we are not, Kenya, we are in trouble.
I'm right. In the next few months, mtaona drama na video. Asanteni Njiru. Good night.
Wewe ni wa Manase. Unajua Manase alisema tugoje April 21st. I don't follow him, but I hope he's right. 21st tutakuwa with another leader, lakini hatutaki antichrist sisi.
Manase mgani huyo?
Huyu anasemanga ule alikuwa anatafuta 300 virgins.
Crazy people. Those people copy from nani Makonyango. Unajua kuna pastor mwingine anaitwa Makonyango wa Aluo man. Hata yeye alisema 22nd will be the end of this government.
Yeah, they are saying that there is another one who is coming, but I don't like the one who is coming. They are saying they'll come to judge and kill people.
So mnataka kusema tuko na mwezi moja na siku 10. Tuseme Luwere.
Yes.
Sijui kama ni Luwere, whatever will happen. Will happen. Anyway, whatever will happen will happen. Kenya inaenda kwa mteremko. Whatever will happen will have to happen. Lazima kitafutendeka. Unajua ni kama kuzaa. Unajua ukisikia karibia kuzaa, unajua utazaa tu, lazima uzae. Hata kama utaki kuzaa.
Sasa kama wameanzia kuua matuari, nini kingine kimebaki? I know even those international governments will start reacting now.
They don't react, we don't care. They have never helped us. They can go to HELL.
No, but when they lose their citizens, they react. When they lose their citizens, they react. You know, they value their people more than we value our people, eh?
Wacha nikwambie Njiru. Kenya inaenda iko kwa mteremko. Na Raila Odinga amekuja ati unajua life is very funny by the way. Sisi hii kitu imetubo tumekasirika, tumepiga kelele. Lakini unajuanga God has a way of turning things that makes it a blessing in disguise. Nyinyi watu mniambie vile Raila Odinga tufanya kazi na Ruto miaka 2 kama wanaongeleshana, Raila Odinga kama amekaa akiambiwa fanya hii. Who will do that? Do you think Raila Odinga can do that? No. He'll be the one telling Ruto fanya hii. Na Kasongo hata take that line down. Wacha hiyo Faruku nasikia anachapanga watu slap. Wacha ajaribu kuchapa Raila Odinga slap.
There also someone said in the comment section, and I think it's right. Raila should be careful from eating from Ruto, because if Ruto thinks he's a headache, na unajua sahi watu wake ameshawa sell, he's already sold them, na vile amemwitikisha kuingia bedroom, akiona he has the people, he might eliminate the guy at the climax before I'm destroyed. So Ruto can also decide to do his math. Aone sasa watu wa Raila wako on his side. Aone sahi mzee akaenda sahi, he will maintain those people. So he can take action and try to get rid of Raila and keep the people. Someone said that in the comment section, and I think I think I can see that point, that Ruto deciding to go that way.
Alafu unaona nini? Unaona this story tunaongeanga hata pa kwa social media. Unajua NIS wajinga wanaokatanga hii maneno yote. They are not so dumb. Unaona huwezi kakaa tu kigojea, unaona tu kweli hiki kitu tunaweza fanya. Huyu mtu anaweza nikalia tu na nitapikie na nikalia anifanyie everything. He won't take it lying down. He won't. Hata kama Kasongo anaona amekazwa aje na Wakenya, ata fight to the end. Unaona? And one of them fight to the end ni kudili na mwenye ameingiza kwa serikali saa hii. Atadili na yeye namna gani? So I'm telling you, things will be sweeter. Bitter and
And
sweeter.
the day Ruto was elected president, I mean the day he won, was it that day or the day the court pronounced him to be declared the president elect? The guy who had gone to ICC, his former attorney, he died that
Geshero.
and he died that day. Na skeni ile powder mtu wekwa, because even his son was in ICU but he came out. Kwa hivyo Ruto
Inaitwa polonium.
Yes, so Ruto is very dangerous. So even Raila should tread carefully. He might be anaweza kuwa anafikiria ndio he might be playing him akute sasa kuna master. So this is a very dangerous game between the two of them, because someone might think they are playing the way they've been playing others, akute mtu mwingine who is ruthless. Akute kama kesho he's no more. Sasa watu unaona vile Wajaluo wote DM wamefurahi wameingizwa government, alafu awapatie CS awafunge macho wafurahi, then he has them on his side going forward. So even Raila should be careful.
Wanazemanga Raila ako na mioyo 9, amesurvive mambo mingi, so wanasema Raila is in his game. Ni master wa kukula.
There is a time I read something about surfers. You know those people who go and surf in the sea. They dare the sea so much, but there is a time that the sea decides to act and react and swallows them. So even he might be a master, but he might, you can be doing something over and over, and then one time you do it and it swallows you. So I hope that this is not the time it swallows him, that game of his. That sahi asikue amechezwa. That the sea that he has been surfing in comes and swallows him. So he should be careful, because Ruto is not someone to play with, and he's desperate. And a desperate man is a dangerous man.
He's an evil man. So wasikiria ata take that line low. Wamesikia hiyo matope wanaongea everywhere. Sasa serikali ni yetu. Imagine they are going around saying serikali ni yao. Na kina Sudi wanasikia tu hizo story. You think kina Sudi wanakaa wamenyamazia hiyo kitu na kina Faruki bet?
And they should, Raila should look at Chebukati. Chebukati had to be silenced, just as the people, the witnesses for ICC had to be silenced, so that Ruto makes sure that he doesn't have to go ever looking behind his back to someone who can come and say the truth.
Yeah.
So you don't play with people like those. When you see such a snake, you hit it on the head and kill it before it bites you.
Yeah. You go around cleaning the evidence. That is what Kasongo is good at. So, working with a thug, that's what you get. That's what Chebukati get. Working with the criminal, that is what you get. So, mimi Njiru nimesema nimeenda mara mbingi, wacha niende for real now nikalale. Good night everybody.
Night night.
Night Pen alilala kwa show. Good night Njiru.
Haya, ni sawa. So inakaa tumemaliza point tufunge.
Yes.
Okay, sawa. Kesho ni siku Marshal Kaheri. Sijui ni wangapi wanajua hiyo. Sawa, Ashley, tuonane kesho kama utakuja. Penny kesho. Okay, let me take nichukue nafasi kusalimia wale watu wamekuko. Very dangerous guys corner. Sasa wewe resident umekuja kutype dakika ya mwisho. Ken Ngigi kama kawaida. Na tafadhali kama hujapiga subscribe kwa show yetu, tafadhali piga subscribe kwa show yetu. Tuendelee kugrow na wewe. So bwana Daniel sijasikia leo ukideconstruct your story ya Matiang'i. Yeah. Same Costa unasema umepokea ujumbe Q. Mere Waina ina Joseph Baidas. Ya, watu ni wengi. Sawa. Kasongo yeah. Kasongo yoyoyo. Anyway, resilient, wacha tufunge tafadhali, tuende tujihusishe na mambo mengine.